Hail to thee, my kindred. Welcome. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever and whenever you are. Very sorry for the longer wait time there. Just had to go through some stuff. And by that I mean I just was in the bathroom. Anyhow, how are all of you? I hope you're all having a fine time. I was eating one of these little, what do they call them? A trail mix bag, but really it was just a trail mix, as in mostly just almonds, cranberries, and dark chocolate, with some raisins, some walnuts. It was really a lot of raisins and cranberries when you really think about it. It was very tasty too. I have not finished it all. And then I have to drink my coffee after that, which I have a feeling might be an issue, but we will deal with that when we get there, and by we, I mean I. Also, I got a new router today, so let's hope that's working out fine and dandy. I don't know if it's inherently any better. All I know is that it's newer, and it's also warm. I don't know why it's warm. I kind of don't like that it's warm. It kind of scares me that it's warm. I think that's normal because the other one was also warm, but like this one's like more warm than the older one. I don't know. Hopefully we the last one worked just fine and it was pretty damn old at that point, or at this point. So maybe this new one, or newer one, because I don't inherently know how new it is, should in theory be a lot better. We shouldn't hopefully see any drops in bandwidth or anything like that for a good while. And if we do, then I guess maybe I'm conflating bandwidth and routers. I don't really know how the internet works, I'll be honest. I got no clue how that magic works. All I know is that you plug the thing in, and then you plug the other wire. Well, you don't really plug a wire into it. You plug one wire into it, the one you put in the socket, and then you kind of screw in another wire, and then it just works, you know? It just works. Anyhow, last time, Baker Girl got murdered by Art. Frenchy Girl, the French one. She was slain horrifically, and by that I mean just strangulation with a towel. It was kinda sad. I'm not gonna pretend it was the saddest thing in the world, but it was pretty. I didn't like that this happened. And we left off basically right after the entire, whatchamacallit, the entire trial, right? The trial for that specific murder. And we sort of watched how Art was executed, per se, via a goddamn statue of some sort. I kinda don't know what exactly it's supposed to be a statue of. I guess it's just like a normal golf statue. Our boy got murked. And by our boy, I mean just the one guy that was like a fun guy. Fun little dude. Dead. So yeah, I could try and finish up these little things. Hold on. I'm gonna try and finish this up. Right, and we're also on day 3 out of 7, I think they said. 0 said we had 7 days. And one of us has to, I guess, get out of here alive in 7 days. There's also Eve, which is, I guess, I'm assuming both of them are not real people. They might be real people. I'm not sure if they're real people. I don't have any reason to believe they're real people, Zero and Eve. They might just be computer programs of some kind. One is obviously meant to represent despair, which is Zero, and the other one, hope, which is Eve. And she gave us, and by us I mean our character, Echo, the title of memory. As in, they're the ultimate memory, or whatever the hell that means. Which I kind of agree with Zero, that it's a weak-ass title. It doesn't make sense. There's other people who have good memory based off of their skills alone. So it kind of doesn't make sense as to why Echo is supposed to be the ultimate memory, quote-unquote. But, their name is also Echo, so maybe that has to do... Maybe it's thematic, It's just a theme type of thing. I don't know. Let me crunch on some nuts real quick. Alright. Freaking love, like, nuts and dark chocolate. It's just so good. With with that odd display, the two holograms cut out. Why? What just happened? I was on the verge of tears. Were you, though? I mean, you don't look like you're on the verge of tears. My whole body shook violently. There was a weight at the bottom of my heart, dragging my whole body down. I felt like my head was going to split. Becoming trapped in a strange luxury mansion where I seemingly didn't belong. Stuck with a group of revered students with so-called the ultimate talents. Getting involved up in a class trial where we had to investigate someone killing someone. Concluding with the gruesome execution, as if everything else wasn't enough. Why was this happening? I want to go to bed. Me too, Chief. I kinda forgot that I didn't sleep all that much today, or last night, because my damn nap was interrupted by the matriarch, who asked me to install the gosh darn new router. But that's neither here nor there. For a long time. Forgot which button was it to screenshot things? S? Before I knew it, my limp body dove to the floor and I keeled over. My heavy eyes closed wearily and I allowed myself to sink into the velvety darkness. Okay, it was S. And S is the button to to click for screenshots. And there's 8 students left. Chapter 2, day question mark. A deep, pulsing darkness filled every crevice and fold, bleeding through razor-thin cracks. Drifting even unevenly between a nauseating black sea and a stifling, destitute vacuum. Obscurity murmured and bubbled beneath the heavy velvet pall. Competing vibrations through the void pounded and shook the air with a stiff, rich chord. The staccato hummed echo, threatening to break the eclipsing shadow. This is some poetry right there. Echo. Echo? Echo! Ow! I opened my eyes, and as a swift and sharp pain struck my face. Oh, hey, what gives? Missy was standing over me, her hand poised in a way that suggested she was the one who had firmly awoken me up. Missy does not play any games right now. I'm sorry, Echo, but I had to wake you up. I shook you, but you didn't react, so... She blinked several times as I rubbed my left cheek, my vision adjusting to the surroundings. It seemed I was in either Missy or Ashley's personal room. I sat up in the bed to see Ashley sitting at the floor of the bed, just in front of me. Missy was on my left in a spare chair. Ashley, Missy, what happened? Well, for starters, it's about 9:15 p.m. You seem to have passed out after the trial earlier this evening. Ashley and I were concerned, so we've been monitoring you to make sure you were safe. However, I was worried. You stopped breathing in your sleep. I stopped breathing? That's very bad. You're not supposed to do that while you're asleep. You will die. I can't have you leaving us so shortly after we lost our other 2 friends. I hope that your newfound title of Ultimate Memory does not begin to fail you so soon. Ultimate Memory. Echo Pine, Ultimate Memory. That's right. Just yesterday, I thought I was an ordinary student with no extreme talent or skills, and yet, in the courtroom, a revelation came to light, and I was given the unique title of Ultimate Memory. But whatever that entailed, I wasn't too thrilled, because despite that revelation, it wasn't the strangest thing to occur. Yeah, they're dead as hell. I bit back my words in tears, thinking about Pandora and Art. The truth was hard to swallow. Without the trial, many of us struggled to find footing. No, throughout the trial, many of us struggled to find footing in the discussion. None of us wanted to believe in any of it. The murder and the following execution. Sorry if I sort of misread things, even in a way that, they kind of make sense. My brain is just like that. The three of us sat in silence, haunted by the dark happenings of the courtroom. I looked solemnly at the other two. Missy and Ashley's faces told all, a tapestry of rose, remorse, and distress. Well, what's important is that you're all right now, Echo. Yeah, thanks, you two. I am relieved. Ashley's voice was a whisper. First the door trap, and then this. We exchanged few words, but we knew from emotion alone how heavy our hearts were weighted. Missy breathed a tense sigh. Just the other day, Missy was so composed, but now a voiceless iron curtain hung over us. There were so many things to address, but fear choked our dialogue. I looked up to meet Ashley's tearful gaze. And looking just past her, I saw something bright sitting on a cabinet in the corner of her personal room. It was a helmet. Ash? Right, didn't she tell us there was nothing in her room as well? What is it, Echo? That helmet over there. When we first met up, I remember you saying you didn't have any personal possessions, but... Ah. Yeah, I didn't mention it on the first day. I didn't want to talk about it then. Sorry, you don't have to. No, I think this should be brought up. Ashley's face sunk. She turned to face the cobalt blue item. I'm sure you can recall what I told you about the person this helmet belongs to. I nodded gently, and Ashley sighed deeply. Missy was quiet, politely listening. Quiet. It's like a racetrack kind of helmet. Oh yeah, the racer. Friend. I got in a fight with my friend, another ultimate student, Silva Prower, race car driver. The fight was about the very preservation project we're involved with now. The project was but a low whisper among ultimate students. Word was that we would be offered state-of-the-art living and protection, seeing as our talents would be of great worldly benefit. As soon as I received my offer to join, I couldn't say no. I asked Silva if he had accepted as well, but Silva declined, wholly disagreeing with the offer vehemently. He doubted the validity of a private group that only existed in the hopeful hearsay of strangers. But what position was I to deny safety when it was being offered so graciously? With our differing opinions on the matter coming to a clash, he eventually gave up on me entirely. Yet, against his wishes, I made attempts to get his name in. And later, we are here now. Yeah, that's not really good if you're trying to get him into this. Now, considering what's going on. Sylvia, right? That's what's the name? Kinda neutral. Can't tell if that's a guy or a gal. And for all we know, maybe if my theory about Zero and Eve being wrong are... Well, if my theory on Zero and Eve is wrong and they are actual people, then maybe this race car person is somehow Eve. I don't know. Ashley began to tear up and buried her head in her hands. I'm such an idiot. Her voice trembled. Ashley, you're not an idiot for caring about a friend's well-being. I was foolish for thinking the killing game would go away if I removed Echo from being involved in my troubles. Being involved with ultimate students only leads to ultimate levels of trouble. But I was wrong for thinking I could shoulder tragedy on my own. Ashley looked at me with pleading eyes. They were filled deep with sorrow and regret. I'm sorry, Echo. I realize now that it's more important than ever that we stick together. She grasped my hand firmly, but her own hands were shaking from fear. It was only natural. I felt a tear fall from my face, onto the back of Ashley's hand. Missy's voice slipped in. Why don't we get something from the dining hall to unwind? Everyone seems rather tense, and I think taking a beat could help us distress. Uh-huh. How could you think of getting a snack at a time like this? I heard my voice cry in desperation. Pandora and Art's lives are just taken away. I'm sorry, but I don't think we're of sound mind right now. That's right. We shouldn't waste time doing nothing. Then what would you suggest we do? We need to escape. Missy, you're the ultimate tactician. I'm begging you. Come up with something, anything, any sort of plan to get us out of here. What's the point of ultimate talents if we can't do anything with them? Missy flinched. She looked away, attempting to hide her reaction. I realized what I had just said. I'm sorry. I went too far. Echo, it's fine. However, Missy's words betrayed her emotions. She must have felt tense after everything as well, but she tried to retain her composure nonetheless. I let out a deep sigh. I'm sorry for losing my temper. You're right. A snack could help clear my head. Missy. Missy's expression eased, but she said nothing. Rather, she slowly got up and offered a hand for me. She helped me out of bed, and we quietly made our way to the dining hall. Yeah, I mean, she's trying to, to keep everybody at the very least kinda calm enough to figure things out. She's not a strategist out here, she's a tactician of politic. We do have... Basically, our best bet is her, kind of, and Puzzle Boy, right? Lyle. Because Lyle can sort of be an investigator with his whole puzzle shenanigan. Not that I think we're getting out of here anytime soon. And then, really, who else can help out in this situation when you think about it? None of our skills, in theory, Echo, but I don't know how Echo's ultimate talent really plays into anything. The halls were eerily quiet, as if sound were draped underneath the shadow of the evening lighting. In the dining hall, we saw Forte, sitting in his lonesome. Evening, folks. Forte's voice was a low mumble, his posture stone. He sat with his hands clasped on the table, resting just before the dining table centerpiece, Pandora's basket of pastries. Nah, that thing was still there. Missy's idea to get a snack was quickly dashed when we were met with the... with the moment... Goddamn, something got stuck in my throat. With the memento of Pandora, my stomach twisted. Are you alright, Forte? The answer was plainly painted on his face. No one was of sound mind after what we had just witnessed. Even though he didn't answer outright, the question alone gave him a bit of comfort. Indeed, it will be a while yet for me to come to terms proper, but... Giulio Jose pres un chute, something. I don't know if that's Italian. I'm assuming that's Italian, because our French gal is dead. Maybe it's not, I don't know. Question mark? Always rise after a fall. Always rise? Pain exists so we can grow and learn from it. What we do with it, this feeling of misfortune, is what we motivate us to move forward. We learn from tragedy and grow forward. It's really all we can do. That's the voice I'm going with, if I can remember it. I must imagine Art was deserted. Regardless, his generous fixings, being driven into a compassionless corner like that would make anyone miserable. And being here now, with our friends Missy and Ashley, as well as the others, should teach us that we have friends all around us who would feel anguish without one another. Alas, it's hard to think clearly when your mind has been clouded by despair. I feel terrible for Art, his swirling, desolate emotions pushed too far. I wish to make it known that I care for you all deeply. Forta's melancholic voice stung my heart. Missy and Ashley themselves had a wistful look in their eyes as they nodded in assent. We hardly knew each other, but I could feel the bond of our adversity bringing us closer together, our camaraderie knit together by taut strings of fear. Yeah, that's called trauma bonding. Not very nice, huh? If I may, as a precaution, I suggest no one travel alone. It's too dangerous to be without a witness in the event something were to happen. It's not a thought I wish to entertain, but such steps may be necessary if we're going to be at the forefront of the killing game's unpredictability. I agree, and not only that, Cyrus' intense behavior could pose a potential problem. Huh? What happened with Cyrus? Well, after the trial, you recall what Zero said, correct? Yeah, alright! Zero was like, this man is not who you think he is, and I was right to be suspicious of his ass. Cyrus Sirik is someone to be wary of. Ultimate charisma is a terrible cover talent. After you collapsed, he started acting suspiciously. It seems I've garnered some distrust among you all, no thanks to that lousy Zero. Cyrus, what is Zero talking about? There's no use hiding it. And I think a reintroduction is only appropriate. Cyrus Sirik, ultimate confidential informant of the Preservation Project. For the Preservation Project. Okay. I mean, it kinda seemed like he too was surprised by the killing. So maybe he didn't know he might just be a pawn in this great scheme. Maybe a rook if he's lucky. Ultimate confidential informant. I don't know whether that means he's the one that gave the papers to, gave the paper to Pandora, maybe, as a spy, right? Because confidential informant basically just means spy in this scenario, but I'm not too sure if he's the one that was the paper giver, or the one who slipped the paper into Pandora's apron. It could be another one of us. You're with the Preservation Project? Of course. I rallied you all here, after all. So what's with the facade? You're in this game too, after all. Did you think you could keep up the niceties all the way through? That's for me to know. And all you need to know is this. You were all doomed from the moment you set foot here. And I know for a fact, nothing you do will save you from this game. Okay, so what is your dumbass doing here? Unless he's just really good at acting. And then he crept out of the courtroom, leaving us all confused to say the least. This is confusing. So are Eve and Zero also a part of the Preservation Project? But like, if they were, then why would Zero... I guess maybe they're like rogue agents kind of thing. But no, it seems like they're left in charge of stuff. Like, Eve and Zero are sort of in charge of things, and assuming my like little AI theory is correct, that they're just like two opposites, I guess, in terms of AIs, assuming they're not real people. And we also don't know the technology, so I don't know. I'm just assuming they're like AI, or at the very least, I think it doesn't matter either or. Like, why would they be doing things that could potentially put the informant in harm's way? And then he crept out of the courtroom, leaving us all confused to say the least. After that, Missy and I rushed you to my room so you could get your rest. Say and Cannon have been unresponsive all evening. I don't know how Lyle is faring, but he is likely in similar despondent shape. They've retired to their rooms as far as I know. However, if anyone would like to explore, find a partner to keep yourself safe. I cannot guarantee everyone's safety, nor can I force everyone to follow my lead. But I hope you know I wish for everyone's safety. Missy was strained. She wished to protect everyone, but it was difficult since none of us knew what could happen next. Not only that, but now certain people are not gonna trust one another. I don't know how Lyle is gonna be acting since he was basically only friendly with Art, right? That was the guy, like I said earlier today, or not today, the last time we played, when you go into the character things, and when you hover over the character with your mouse, it shows on the side who they're, I guess, most friendly with. And he was only friendly with Art. Like, that was like kind of his dude, his most, I guess, his friend, the person he would consider a friend, is my assumption. And now he's dead, right? Turned out that friend murdered someone and then got executed. So I'm not sure bro's in a good state of mind. He might just try to lock in and just, quote-unquote, solve the puzzle. As in, try and figure things out to get out of here. Which means he's likely gonna maybe be murdered next? I hope not, because I have a feeling he's gonna go around by himself. He just seems the type to do that. I'm not too sure though. For all we know, Cannon might do the same thing. I'm awfully curious about something though. As we were returning to the foyer from the courtroom, I noticed that there was a button for the 3rd floor lit in the elevator. Okay, so I guess after every merger we get a new floor? 3rd floor. I saw that too. Missy, did you want to investigate the 3rd floor? It's late, but I did want to make a brief round to see what's in store for us. I'll come with you. Echo, do you want to go back to your room for some proper rest? I imagine you've been quite fatigued lately. My stomach was in a knot. I didn't want to leave Ashley. No, it's fine. I'll come with you. I feel kind of restless anyways. Walking around could help. Okay, but don't push yourself, alright? I nodded slowly. If you folks are going to explore, would you mind seeing me off to my living quarters? Missy and Ashley obliged, and we all left the dining hall together. In the foyer, we saw Forte off as he retired for the night in his personal room. I hope nobody can enter anybody else's room. I don't think, is that ever a thing we managed to figure out? Like, if anybody could access other people's rooms? Because we didn't hear anything about locks or... my assumption is that you only can enter, kind of like with a hotel, how you need to have the key card, right? I assume you can only enter somebody's room if you use the wristband thing. Entering the elevator again, we traveled to the 3rd floor that had recently opened up. After a low rumbling, the elevator stopped, revealing the new area. A digital kiosk was just outside the elevator, displaying a map of the grounds as we approached. The 3rd floor landing hall led toward a single main hall that split into 4 rooms, 2 on each side. Smokehouse lounge, garage, casino, art gallery. Why a garage? What would a garage be for, especially on the 3rd damn floor of a building? Smokehouse lounge, I guess if you want some extra food. Living quarters, There's more living quarters, which means potentially more people to deal with? Huh. Well, no, because then that would mean that... Wait, there's also a stairway that goes down? So I was right, like, we could kind of continue to go up and down via the stairs alone, so why haven't we? This is getting a little odd. If there's more students, that's gonna be... I don't imagine there should be. Because that would be a lot of characters to keep in... Like, I already kind of struggle with 8. With the 10 we had. We'll see, though. Four new activity amenities are available to us. Maybe this is if somebody wants to rest upstairs. On the left, there's a smokehouse. No, there's a smoke lounge connected to a casino, and on the right is an art gallery connected to a garage. But of course, they're closed to us from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. However, Missy's voice trailed off. I followed her gaze to the smaller hallways that surrounded the perimeter of the main activity rooms. Familiar doors dotted the hallway. An unknown school emblem decorated the door, but Missy's eyes were transfixed on one. That's... And Ashley herself was looking at another door that bore a similar emblem on it, and I had seen on the race car helmet before. Earlier. Huh? Who was it that mentioned something... I forgot who the hell it was that mentioned something about potentially having other floor. I think it was when Echo, Art, and Lyle were talking, right? They mentioned like there potentially being other... No, it may have been Lyle, Missy, and Echo. There was some conversation Echo was a part of in which people mentioned the potentiality of there being other students we don't know about. And there was another full set of personal rooms on the 3rd floor. Missy and Ashley looked at each other with astonishment. They swiftly ran to their respective doors, but before they could do anything... I see you've met the rest of your classmates. His flat, disembodied voice sent a chill up my spine. The two of them swung around to see Cyrus in a dark corner of the hallway. Okay, bro, you don't gotta be menacing. There's no need for this. Cyrus continued, disregarding Missy and Ashley's grim faces. It's too late. Silva and Darling? They're out of the picture. Ashley and Missy reacted to the respective names. I remembered Ashley telling me about Silva, so the other unknown was in relation to Missy. The atmosphere was suddenly heavy and with paralyzing glares sent every which way. Why do you know this? What exactly do you plan to do with these threats? He shrugged indifferently, unconcerned with answering the questions tossed his way. Cyrus, who are you? I mean, his name is a fucking, fake name as well. Look at that thing. Cyrus Sir Rick. I was on that shit. I was like, his name is even just the same thing, just flipped, just mirrored. I'm the Preservation Project's informant, and I was chosen to handpick the class that appears for this game. His leering eyes pierced the very air between us. But Echo Pine, they're different. And I was immobilized at the sudden mention of my name. I didn't even know if I was breathing. The three stood at a stalemate, a palpable dread radiating from their deadlocked eyes. Please, stop your facade. Facade? You all heard Zero in the trial. The Cyrus you knew before wasn't the real me. He blew my cover, so I'm here in the full form. How can we trust that? Cyrus let his threat linger. The astringent potential for disaster messed a lead weight at the bottom of my stomach. Missy and Ashley closed in on either side of me, bracing themselves against his impossible machinations. I mean, it's 3-on-1. He can't really do anything right here unless he pulls out a knife or something. Which I doubt he's gonna do. But he just sulked away, Cyrus's husky, low laugh melting into the darkness. I was dizzy with fear, but Missy's firm voice kept me grounded. Hurry, let's return to the living quarters. She grabbed my hand, leading me through the dark toward the elevator that was some ways behind us. We hustled into the elevator and rode back to the main foyer. What the hell is this man all about? What's his purpose? Like, he technically knows he isn't safe, right? Like, one of us could just, like, flip our shit and murder him. And then he's dead as hell, unless he's confident that he can defend himself. Back in the foyer, soft light from the chandelier glittered, delicately lighting the main hall. There we crossed paths with Cannon, who was isolated in the foyer once again. Cannon? Ashley's voice was a whisper that didn't seem to reach Cannon's ears. We slowly approached her and saw her cold expression, but her face gave off a different demeanor somehow. Rather than an icy gaze, we were met with a stony, soulless stare. Cannon, are you alright? I saw her come to, her eyes softening as she turned towards us. She murmured a quiet affirmation. Her cold exterior melted into a brief moment of vulnerability. Then my curiosity got the better of me and I capitalized on the brevity of silence. Cannon, I have to know, why did you run away when I collapsed from the electrocution? It's only natural to feel fear when you see someone get hurt. Huh? I was frightened. I don't know why I said it like that. I was frightened. It's odd. I wanted to leave this mansion as soon as I woke up, but something stopped me. She gripped the instant camera she hung on a short wrist strap. When I woke in my personal room with only this camera in my possession, I couldn't help but feel unnerved. So I stood in the foyer wanting to leave, but felt unable to due to a mysterious bad feeling. And as it turns out, that feeling was right. After I saw you scream and collapse, my suspicions were confirmed, but I didn't know what to do. I waited for anyone to come and see you so they could handle it. Forte. You know what happens from there. And I left someone else to help you because I didn't want to deal with that event. Although her face was no less intelligible than before, her voice was shaking. She was just as scared, if not more, than I was. She desperately wanted to protect herself from being the one who would point out the culprit as long as possible, knowing she couldn't delay the inevitable revelation. Right, because she just, like, during the trial said she's always in the wrong place at the right time. Right, so like, she's right there when we touch the door, she's there when Art runs into the atrium, all that good stuff. She always is just in the wrong place at the right time. Cannon sighed heavily. Excuse me, I'm going to bed. Cannon briskly walked towards the living quarters. Missy and Ashley gave Cannon a soft good night each as she retired for the night. With nothing left to do in the dark of night, we followed suit to our individual rooms. I mean, we slept quite a bit. I don't imagine we need to sleep anymore. We might, though. Dunno. Ashley stopped me for a moment in the living quarters hall. I feel like you could just write that as she stopped us in the hall. You don't have to specify after specifying that you're going to the living quarters. Especially since you're showing us the visual. It makes reading a little rough. It's like a tongue twister. Echo, let's take care of each other, okay? I think she said yeah, but of course. And that doesn't need saying. Ashley mumbled something but cut herself off. Instead, she just gave me a hug. I closed my eyes and allowed myself to be swathed in the comfort of her embrace. Good night, Echo. Good night, Ash. She does have gray hair, I think, right? Or am I tripping? My brain is just like, does she has blonde hair or like grayish hair? I mean, I can check. Yeah, it's like gray blonde. Sorta, kinda. It's a very, very darker shade of blonde, or I guess mute is the word. Entering my personal room, I felt more elated. This personal room, the comfort and luxury must have been fabricated, creating a false sense of comfort. And behind the sense of comfort, a facade of terror and malice was hiding, a killing game with no remorse for the participants. And I shook the nerves out and collapsed onto the bed. And I went to go to bed for a long, long, long time. Me too, Chief. I'm still so tired. Exhaustion overcame me and another day would come to pass. Really? Lucky. Bro just like gets, well, I guess not gets anything. He just collapses, sleeps for a while, wakes up for a while, sleeps for another while. Every fire is a lesson learned. And I've learned that the pictures kind of have nothing to do with what actually happens. It just seems to be thematic. Knock knock. I opened my eyes at the sound of knocking. Pardon me, but good morning. It's Missy Vesper, outside for Echo. I looked at the time, 7:29. Good morning, Missy. I'll be right out. Take your time. I stopped the alarm before it rang and made myself presentable. I stepped out of my personal room to meet Missy. I noticed she was clutching a small item folded in a cloth. Before I could ask about it, she started through the halls and I followed alongside her. What's going on? I'm gathering students for a personal announcement. I will elaborate when we arrive in the foyer. She raised a small item indicating it was going to be the subject of the meeting. You're the last student I approached. Those who won't be present did not answer when I knocked. However, when I approached Sei, she replied through the door that she wasn't going to move at all. Yeah, Sei is like probably too damn scared to get out of her room. She said that if she was going to die, it would happen regardless of what she did. What? It was shockingly fatalistic thing to it was a shockingly fatalistic thing to say, but I wasn't going to force her out. That girl, Sei worries me. Do you think she'll do something dangerous? I'm sorry, I meant that I worry for her well-being. I do not wish to be too demanding in any case. She may be offended or take it the wrong way, but... Missy sighed. She seemed upset that she couldn't do anything to help Sei. I'm sure Sei appreciates the sentiment. We just do what we can, right? I apologize. You're absolutely correct. Missy's expression eased as we finally arrived at the main foyer. In the foyer, I saw the small group of students Missy gathered. The group was composed of Forte, Canon, Miss Ashley, Missy, and myself. So Lyle, Cyrus, and Sei couldn't make it. And I'm not surprised Cyrus is absent given his behavior last night. And Lyle should be a person of concern as well, since he was so distraught from the conclusion we came to, discovering Art was the culprit behind Pandora's death. Art just wanted to protect us. It's not his fault Pandora had an incredibly suspicious note. I don't imagine seeing her with the note helped. What with his head being so full of distress. That note is fairly damning. I never would have thought she would be in possession of such an oddity. But despite that, I feel like she had good intentions behind it. She specifically pulled me aside the night before to ask if I knew anything about the contents. That doesn't seem like something a mole would do, right? We pondered the source of the note, but we couldn't presume much about it without the strange item in our hands. Our morning was already off to a rocky start. And that brings me to why I have gathered you all here for. Missy had the floor, taking place facing the elevator at the centerpiece of the table. At the centerpiece table. What? The elevator at the centerpiece table, while the rest of us encircled the opposite side. Is there a table? Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Sorry, I was like confused. I had to like look behind her a little bit. You can kind of see it. You can see the sides of the table at least. By the way, I kind of like how the texture of the lines for the characters' drawings. I don't know why. I just do. This kind of looks charcoalish a little. Please, do not be alarmed when I show you this. She placed a small cloth-wrapped item she had been carrying on the wooden table. I assume this is maybe an item that she has in her room and decided to bring out? Oh. It was a revolver with a note. Missy, what's the meaning of this? I told Echo before, but I'll reiterate for the rest of you as well. I had plans to contribute my skills to the preservation project prior to the events of arriving here. However, upon arrival in my personal room, I found this revolver. Read the note tied to the handle. Cannon looked over and carefully read from afar. This is making me think we have something in our room. Maybe it's just like hidden in like the closet or something. Like everybody must have something. And we're just all playing, you know, keep away, basically. Something that means something, probably, or can be used for something. I don't think this gun can be used. Assuming there's a... It's kind of old school. It's like one of those cowboy revolvers. Cannon looked over and carefully read from afar. As a student interested in working with the preservation project, one must attempt their hand in a single round of reverse Russian roulette. What to say? Reverse Russian roulette? So like 5 rounds and 1 empty slot? We believe every ultimate student, should they be destined to live and change the world, will surpass the incredible game of chance no matter the odds. Reverse Russian roulette? A game of an unbelievable chance. 5 out of 6 chambers in the gun are occupied with a bullet. The player is to spin the chamber, lock the chamber in, place the gun barrel against their own head, pull the trigger, and hope to survive. Without the knowledge of whether or not a bullet will be fired, your life is in the hands of fate. I mean, you could just, like, look down the barrel or at the cylinder as you're raising it up to your head, like, unless you're just not looking at the gun in general as you're, like, spinning the thing. Huh? That's absurd. What are the odds of someone surviving that? 1 in 5. The odds are far too high to take a chance on. One would have to be incredibly fortunate. You didn't play, right? Who would dare risk such a game if they were not certain they would survive? Missy's jaws clenched. Did she really not play the round? That said, I'm showing my hand because I want to suspend my disbelief. Huh? And sincerely want to trust you all. So I hope you can trust me as well after I've revealed this wretched thing. I wish for you to believe that no danger is to be contrived from me, and as I have no intention to harm any of you. She carefully folded the cloth back over the revolver. Have any of you heard of the concept called the Stockdale Paradox? I can't say I have. I'll explain. It's a philosophy of duality. Named after vice presidential candidate, the stockade paradox is a concept in which one must never lose faith that they will prevail in the end, while still confronting the cruel facts of their reality. It is a paradox of the self. An individual has to be able to balance the horror of reality with the optimism of success to truly be able to overcome the worst situations. This mindset, the acknowledgement of two opposing sides, is paramount in achieving one's goals. One mustn't get so hopeful they ignore the gravity of their grave surroundings. In our case, we must balance the hope that we will escape the clutches of this place against the despair of the ultimate death within the walls. The four of us were petrified. Basically, cope, but don't cope too hard. Hope? Despair? It was hard to process. Thank you for placing trust in us, Missy. We will not let you down. Canon remained silent, but not in agreement with Forte's statement. Thanks, Missy. You're risking a lot, but if one of us plans to kill, then there really shouldn't be anything to worry about. And of course there shouldn't be anything to worry about. We're all reasonable people, but fear is a powerful tool. By showing you this item and telling you my intentions, I hope to dispel any fears among us. I'm sorry. I see. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding. I hope those bullets are, like, not real. What if somebody's gonna try to pull that gun on somebody else? I know it. They're gonna pull the trigger and nothing's gonna happen. But then again, Chekhov's gun. Maybe one of the bullets is a real bullet. The others are fakes, and it's just a test of, basically having that, like, drive, I suppose. Maybe. And I couldn't believe how bold Missy... Oh, sorry, I'm just moving my mic around. I couldn't believe how bold Missy was being. She could have easily left the gun in her room, out of sight, essentially out of our realm of existence, where no one could cause harm with it. But she was venturing with high hopes that our group truly had no ill will. Everyone agreed. No one would dare fire the gun. I feel like she's a little too smart, I think, for the plan to be that simple. It could be an honest-to-God gamble that, like, nobody in the group meeting has any ill intentions. But at the same time, maybe it is, like, something she's counting on somebody doing at some point, trying to get that gun. Even so, in the game of killing, a weapon presented itself seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, there are knives in the kitchen. Stranger or so, it seemed like some students were left some sort of item in their rooms upon waking up. First Canon remarking upon her camera, then Ashley having Silva's racing helmet, and finally Missy with a revolver. But I also recall Forte saying having something that was seemingly out of place from the mansion. When he took care of me, I was shocked he had... Oh man, I don't remember. What was it? Was it a scarf? He wears a scarf. It can't be a scarf. Well, maybe it's not a scarf, but... I kind of forgot. I'll be honest. Let me, save the game. I'm sure it'll just let me redo that over and over until I get it right. Sheet music, maybe? That's right. He was leafing through some sheet music. I mean, that's not so out of place. There's literally a jazz room. You know, there's a jazz room a little while away. It's not out of place, really. Maybe out of place because he's a opera guy and not like an instrument guy. I wonder, what was the meaning of this? Crash. As I pondered this strange trend, the sound of glass shattering filled the room. Crash clang. Our group glanced at each other for a moment before running off to the source of the sound. Through the dining hall and into the kitchen, the sound persisted louder and louder. There we found Lyle in the kitchen itself, in a state of disarray. Broken glass and battered metal littered the floor as Lyle clutched a metal pipe, aiming for the oven. Lyle, what on earth are you doing? Have you lost your mind? What's it look like I'm doing? I'm testing the rules. The rules state that we cannot damage the major assets, yet here I am, breaking everything. And so far, nothing has happened. Don't you understand? The rules aren't enforced. Art wouldn't have had to kill Pandora. We wouldn't have had to die by our... He wouldn't have had to die by our vote. That was a pretty big fucking risk, though. You're putting everybody's life on the line on a bet, basically, that the rules aren't going to be enforced. And you don't know if they are going to be enforced or not. Just because nothing's happened yet doesn't mean that something's, like, not going to happen. Literally, like, to fuck with us, you know? In the circumstance of a game, rules are placed to create restriction, and yet there's no arbiter or custodian or mastermind here to punish us for breaking the rules. So why should we follow the rules in the first place? We thought our lives were threatened since we... Oh. No, bandwidth. Come back. There we go. Slight drop in bandwidth. We're fine. Okay, let me reread that since the bandwidth just randomly dropped. We thought our lives were threatened since we were trapped by that electrocuting door. Did that even actually happen? What do you mean? Of course that happened. Why would I lie about something like that? You're the one who was afflicted by it. For all I know, Echo, you're the mastermind behind this. What? You collapsed and Forte, in his good-natured heart, came running to your aid. That collapse could have been entirely fake. Because of that, we were simply trapped by our own fears. But be that as it may, the fact remains that the door was armed and is currently barricaded. There can't be no reason for that. Despite Forte's observation, Lyle ignored him. He was completely absorbed in his thoughts. Art didn't have to die. He didn't have to die. He didn't have to die. He was muttering to himself as his grip tightened on the pipe. Lyle's eyes gleamed with intent. Those enraged eyes locked onto mine as he dropped the pipe, the metal crushing the glass debris into dust. I'm not going to die. Not after him. Well, I guess we're having less options for food today. With impeccable timing, an announcement rang through the halls. It's now 9 a.m. And welcome to day 4 of 7. We're already halfway through, how exciting. However, there are far too many people alive right now and we need to fix that. Today's 4's motive question is... Do you believe your talent can benefit all of humanity? Yes, as the ultimate students at the top of your field, society expects you to contribute yourselves and respective talents to the world as a whole. Ponder this question as we set up our next motive for you all. Coming soon, the two ultimate students everywhere. Wahaha! I can't do that wahaha type of laugh, man. I listened to the announcement as best I could, but the rest of the group paid no attention. Instead, they were trying to calm Lyle after his spiel. Lyle, we want to leave too, believe me, but we should put our heads together and come up with a plan instead of wrecking everything. No, you're only getting in my way. Lyle's aggressively pushed his way through us, leaving the dining hall for the foyer, with Missy giving chase. Yeah, bro is tweaking. Lyle, stop following me. I alone will piece together the secrets of this awful killing game if I'm not the ultimate puzzle master. Cyrus was right. If I don't act now, nothing will get done. You spoke to Cyrus? I ran into him this morning in the kitchen. He doesn't concern me in the slightest. With how Cyrus is behaving now, there's no telling what will happen next. You really ought to be careful around him. Lyle ignored Missy's plea and marched over to the elevator, slamming the buttons. He turned around and held up a fist with a crumpled piece of paper in it. I swear I will find the other person who knows the secrets of this note. And that's the only clue Art left me, and damn it, I will do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this. Lyle gave us one last parting glare before entering the elevator. Click. The elevator's closed. The elevator door is closed, leaving the rest of us in a state of bewilderment. With Lyle on edges, I talk with Cyrus sounds like a recipe for disaster. What do you suppose he's going to try to do now? I can only surmise Lyle might be going to the 3rd floor to scour the area for other students. It's a new location that needs to be turned over after all. Forte and Missy sighed in unison. Let us hope he doesn't do anything reckless. But just after Forte said that, I heard footsteps at the top of the stairs. Cyrus. Cyrus replied in a nonchalant manner, but his face was different. In the light of day, Cyrus' expression was twisted into something disconcerting. Missy and Cyrus exchanged fierce looks once more, only this time the two of their emotions were catalyzed. Before we could react, Missy moved swiftly to pursue Cyrus at the top of the stairs. Missy, wait! What are you doing? Ashley went to chase after her, but Missy's firm voice stopped Ashley in her tracks. Don't worry, I'm confident nothing will happen here. I'd like to have a word with this informant. She announced her vague plan as she arrived at the top of the stairs and forcefully grabbed Cyrus by the arm. Cyrus didn't say a word, rather he just made a disgusted face as Missy pushed him into the jazz club. I guess they're gonna have a talk. Well, there goes our two most useful members, really. Lyle is not responding to anybody other than himself and taking Cyrus's word for some reason. And then, I mean, it is kind of well, I don't know, maybe he can piece together why Cyrus does things a lot easier than the rest of us. So to him, it's not a concern. I'm not too sure. And then there's obviously Missy, who is, I assume, going to try and use her little politics skills to ask questions in very smart ways. She slammed the door and silence befell the group. Should we be concerned? Missy has a plan. I have faith she will carry it out to execution with the least casualties. Yeah, Miss Ultimate Tactician probably has some cards up her sleeve. Let's just leave her be. Cannon made a rather snide remark, but that said, it seemed like everyone was confident that Missy had a plan, seeing as no one went to pursue her. Let's just hope she doesn't end up dead. I hate it here. Why don't we carry on the investigation ourselves? Investigation of what? The mansion. We still haven't found a way out of this place. I agree. And the 3rd floor opened up to us last night, so there should be an opportunity for escape. Or maybe there isn't. I haven't seen a window. Cannon, would you like to join me? Missy proposed traveling in pairs to protect ourselves if I may. Sure. With a stern reply, Cannon briskly began escalating the foyer stairs. Excuse us. Forte followed suit. I wanna check up on Sai. I just wanna check up on her, make sure she's alright, you know? We can go, me, Ashley, Echo and Ashley can go with her to the kitchen so that she can at least get something to eat. She can go back to her room if she wants. Just make sure she's alive. That needs to happen. I don't want her to just be left there. And knowing Sei from what she told us that one time, where she just simply would not ask people how to use the damn kiosk, and basically just didn't eat for a whole day. I know she's capable of just sitting in her room and not eating. Which left me and Ashley in the foyer. We should check out the 3rd floor again, now that the amenities are open. And hopefully we'll find those other students. Her voice was low. Ashley was pale with worry. I feel like there aren't any other students. If there were, you know, I feel like we would have known something. And I don't see a reason as to why Cyrus would have lied about that. There were signs of her friend Silva being here as well, in the helmet in his personal room on the 3rd floor. Okay, so Silva is a dude. But the fact that we didn't run into anyone for 3 days was cause for concern. I didn't want to say anything though. Ash, I'm sure we'll find Silva and the others. Ashley's eyes softened. Thanks, Echo. She gave me a smile once more before starting towards the stairs. I began to follow, but something was tugging at me. Hey Ash, should we take the gun? Ashley hesitated. I think we should trust Missy. Okay, so she straight up just left the gun there. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea. Because, you know, we have Lyle who's tweaking out. And maybe he'll take the gun. And I don't think he's gonna murder anybody because then that'll get him in trouble. I don't think there's enough bullets for him to kind of murk everybody anyways. And I don't think he has the want or need to do that. We should trust everyone. It's ridiculous though. I mean, trust? Such a lofty, intangible concept. Who can say whether or not someone will uphold it? Echo, are you saying you won't? Of course not. It's just... Then that's that. Huh? Missy wants to believe in us. And I'm guessing from our observed behavior during the trial last night, she has no reason to believe any of us are malicious. In fact, the person she thinks is the most dangerous is Cyrus, and she's dealing with him personally. Yeah, but the second most dangerous person is Lyle, because he's tweaking. He's just fucking... he's going around, not listening to anybody except Cyrus, apparently. I don't like that, man. And then there's Sei, who... I don't think she's gonna do anything to herself, but it's still not a good idea to leave such an anxious person and a gun anywhere near each other. She placed her trust in us, now we just have to trust her. Yeah, and like, also Sei doesn't know about this whole conversation. She doesn't know that we know, so for all Sei knows, nobody's in the lower floors, and she's just gonna like walk out, see a gun on the table, and then just be like, well, I guess I better take this. Unless she's too nervous to take it, which is always a possibility. It's give and take. I see. Trust. I pondered the concept as we made our way toward the 3rd floor. Upon arriving at the 3rd floor, Ashley and I saw Cannon and Forte entering the garage. Ashley herself revisited the door with Silva's school emblem and tugged at the doorknob. Locked. Figures. She knocked lightly a couple times, but to no avail. Her eyes were dark. Hey, maybe those other students are just gathered somewhere else in the building. It's a pretty big place. This whole floor was hidden from us for a while, after all. Ashley snapped out of her trance. Her concerned gaze met mine. Okay, at this point we're just coping. Yeah, we'll see them soon enough. She lightly caressed the door before returning to my side. Not only that, but you know, maybe the fact that these extra rooms have like the plates of other students that are known by some of our classes students means that potentially this could just be like a falsehood, right? Like I could be there to fuck with them, to mess with their heads and whatnot. Just another piece of useless information to busy their minds. Makes things interesting, quote unquote. Well, let's see if we can't find anything on this floor. Cannon and Forte just went to the garage, so why don't we check out the other rooms in the meantime? Let's see... smoke lounge, I guess. Let's do a little save. There we go. Smoke Lounge. Let's see what the Smoke Lounge is. Is it like literally a smoke lounge like for smoking? And I was just like thinking it was for smoking meat. It is a smoke lounge for smoking. And here my dumbass was like, oh, it's for smoking meat. It's like, no. And why would they have a smoke lounge for like a bunch of high school students? We entered the smoke lounge, a large room with a rustic design among the room pairs. This room was connected to a casino by a set of double doors on its right wall. Immediately upon entering, we were met with a heavy, ashy odor. I covered my nose to block the smell, but the air itself felt thick and suffocating. What the hell's making that smell appear then? Because there's nobody in here smoking. Echo, are you okay? No, I'm fine. I just wasn't expecting the air to be so dry. Well, let's try to make this quick. What kind of group would allow students access to a smoke lounge? That seems irresponsible. Yeah, what kind of ultimate talent could utilize this room anyway? Who knows? Let's just take a quick look for some sort of exit and move on. I gazed over the room from one end to the other with a single sweeping look. It was a decadent-looking set. The leather seating and the fine woodcraft tables were cozy, each table housing a small candle for a comforting effect. The far wall had shelves upon shelves of fine beverages locked behind the glass cases, with a bar to match on the opposite side. It was a highly refined atmosphere overall that felt rather unwelcoming to those of us who didn't indulge in this sort of recreation. I poked around in areas I thought was maybe suspicious, but didn't really know what to look for. Ashley seemed to be out of sorts, and I wanted to talk and take her mind off her worries for a little bit. So, I suppose I did have an ultimate talent after all. What do you suppose I'm meant to do with it? Well, it helped during the trial. That aside, I'm not even sure what kind of practical uses it has. Ashley felt quiet, instead focusing her attention on investigating the room at hand. Alas, we decided to move on. I guess casino. Let's visit the casino. Let's go gambling! I love gambling. Ooh, look at that wall. We visited the casino, a dim room with an expensive design. Among the room pairs, this room was connected to the smoke lounge by a set of double doors in its left wall. Casino. I suppose it pairs well with the smoke lounge. I guess some kind of ultimate gambler would thrive here, but still. This, along with the smoke lounge, seems a bit out of our depth. Well, we're not here for recreation. Let's see what we can find. We split up and searched between the rows of slot machines that lined one side of the room, and the card tables that occupied the opposite. The slot machines spun listlessly as they sat idly by. The card tables themselves looked rather lonely. No ships or cards adorned the felt. I paced through the room twice over, but didn't spot anything of note. I wanted to try again. Lau probably has some trick to memorizing different puzzle lock patterns. I could ask him, right? Yeah, I think there's usually some kind of math involved, so there's that. Finding nothing fruitful of note, we moved to our next location. Yeah, our Echo is really trying to have a conversation about about their talent. Just figure it out. Just figure it out. Art gallery is the last place, so we shall go there. Let's visit the art gallery. Oh man, we're already like almost an hour and a half in. Almost. 9 minutes to go, or I guess 8 by now. Crossing the 3rd floor hall, we came across the suspicious art gallery. the spacious art gallery. Among the room pairs, this room was connected to the garage by a set of double doors on its right wall. Where are the other two? Where are the other two? Where are Forte and Cannon? Like, they should come across us at some point if we're going from room to room rather quickly. It's very picturesque and modern. Yeah, the whole environment is really inviting. Could some kind of exit or clue really be hidden in a place like this, though? I guess we'll find out. The art gallery was situated in a warehouse-style room. The high, open ceilings, adorned with bright lights, gave way to several painted canvases that decorated the walls. Large, colorful work tables were lined up in the center, facing a small stage that held a sculpture up for the artist to see. Off to the side was an inset closet stocked with shelves full of supplies. We kept coming up short in our investigation, shuffling the lengths of the rooms in silence. Yeah, this is where you would want Lyle to be looking around and whatnot. I stopped peppering Ashley with questions pertaining to my talent. She clearly wasn't in any mood to address it. Oh, Echo, Ashley sighed. This whole ultimate debacle, such a thing has no bearing on what we have. You don't need to find any sort of use for the talent. I couldn't tell you what all a jockey could do for the future. I couldn't tell you what all a jockey could do for... Yeah, okay, I read that. I couldn't tell you what all a jockey could do for the future. Was it too much to simply wish for safety? That in return, we must contribute everything in our power to get something so basic? I wish the project weren't so incessantly utilitarian about our talents. Another heavy sigh. Pandora said something like that on the third day in response to the forced motive question. That baking was simply her passion. Sorry, the talent assignment's so weird and out of nowhere. To be honest, I'm not even sure I believe it. I just wanted to take your mind off. I left the sentence hang. I didn't know where to go from there. Thanks, Echo. We kept looking. I don't know what to think about any of this so far. The 3 rooms we visited were stocked with a decadent supply of recreation, but the fact that we couldn't find an exit nor any signs of life were cause for concern. Our entrapment felt more and more isolating with each discovery. There's one more room to check. I wonder if Cannon and Forte have finished their investigation. No reason... Oh, was that me who... Wait. I think that was Echo who said that. Hold on. Nope, that was the wrong one. Log? Why is it... right clicking. Log, there we go. Yeah, that was fine. There's one more room to check. I wonder if Cannon and Forte have finished their investigation. There's no reason not to join them if they haven't. Cars. Ashley and I entered the garage through its heavy double doors. There weren't any signs of Forte or Cannon in the room. The garage was another warehouse-sized room that housed a large collection of vehicles. Vehicles of various makes and models lined the warehouse like a row of soldiers, and the luster of each steel body gleamed proudly under the beams of display lights. A car collection? Huh? I turned around to see Ashley shaking. Is this a joke? Ash? This is some kind of sick joke, isn't it? I assume the whole car thing has to do with Silva. This room is literally Silva's garage. I went to Ashley's side, but was shrugged away as she stumbled toward a cobalt blue race car. She laid her hands on the door of the car and stared a hole through the windshield. This is Silva's car. The look on her face was filled with mixed emotions. Oh no. I gripped her shoulders firmly and shook her out of her daze. Ash, snap out of it! Ash blinked and took a step back, but her head was hanging low. Echo, this is a sign. It can't simply be a coincidence, can it? Her voice trailed off. It seemed we came to the conclusion. It was entirely possible that Silva was also captured, made to play a killing game. But she would never want to hear that. Ash. Ashley, all these signs must be set up to get a rise out of you. Uh-huh? Think about it. The mysterious group infiltrated the preservation project and kidnapped us. They must have known about your fight with Silva and are using it against you, using it to vex you, to motivate you into doing something horrible. They're playing mind games with you, Ashley. You don't have to worry about Silva. I told her these things, but they were all a lie. Even so, I couldn't stand to see her in such despair. Ashley rubbed her eyes, and I saw her body relax. Yeah, you could be right. She sniffled out a voice of gratitude. Thanks, Echo. What are friends for? I gave her a small hug. I'm going to step out into the hall for a bit if you want to keep looking. No, alright. I won't be long then. I let Ashley gather her bearings outside, and as I gave the garage a brief walkthrough. Let me guess. You found nothing. Unsurprisingly, I found nothing. What did I say? I left the garage, disgruntled at the lack of clues for escape. On the main hall, I spotted Ashley in the midst of conversation with Missy. Echo, you might want to hear this. Huh? What is it? As you know, I had a conversation with Cyrus. Yeah, it was kind of scary. But I'm glad to see you're alright. Worry not, I'm here in one piece. I wanted to bring to your attention his strange behavior. You see, I tried to reason with him, to talk to him from one person to another, but it's almost as if after he was exposed, he's been putting on a facade. I'm sorry, it's difficult for me to explain this gut feeling I have about him, but I have my suspicions. I would not be surprised if he was just fucking around, Not fucking around, but, having a more antagonistic role, because then it would be easier to play us. At least that's my opinion. Like, if everybody could... If you had to be forced to basically be seen as an enemy, you may as well play into it, because then at that point, people become predictable to some extent. At least that's gonna be my justification as to why Miss Vesper, if she's, not telling the truth, but if she's correct, it's completely possible that Cyrus is a spy, that he's playing everybody, that he's playing us right now, making himself be very antagonistic. Because I was wondering, there's kind of no reason for him to be that antagonistic. Like, literally, no reason. Not unless, like... Because, I don't know. Zero wouldn't have outed him out if the point of Cyrus was to make things interesting and mess with things, right? But now that the cover is blown... Yeah, it feels like this may be just another mask of his. But then again, maybe he's not the spy, the mole, quote unquote, that's infiltrated the group. Because then it would be too obvious, right? Unless that's the reason why I would suspect him to be the mole, because he is obvious, right? Maybe his obviousness as a potential mole. But then if he's a mole, then Zero wouldn't have called him out. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm making no sense, I think. I'm just going in circles. Zero said ultimate charisma wasn't the real Cyrus, but could it be the other way around? The other way around? What do you mean? I was thinking, when Zero uncovered Cyrus's false talent, revealing his true title, Cyrus's behavior became stilted and insincere. Perhaps charisma truly isn't his talent, but his behavior under that title seemed organic. My apologies, I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe he's the ultimate manipulator. Although to see for myself, I wanted to talk some sense into him, but he remained steadfast and stubbornly irksome. If he wishes to behave strangely, we might have another tragedy on our hands. I agree. I didn't want to be too hasty, but might I suggest we try to extract information from him with force? With force? Missy's expression sharpened as she made a definitive decision. I could see her eyes glazing through a plan of action. I will use the gun to threaten him into talking. The gun's not gonna be there, bro. Gun's not gonna be there. Make no mistake, especially since you left him. You left him. The gun's not gonna be there. Either Say's gonna have it, or Cyrus is gonna have it, or frickin' Lyle is gonna have it. Make no mistake, I have absolutely no intention of firing it, but Cyrus doesn't need to know that. In that case, let me help you. I'll get rope from the climbing center to bind him in case he thinks of doing something funny. Excellent. Wow. I'm a little shocked too that Ashley is just like, okay, yeah, this is a plan. I was shocked, but Ashley and Missy were both in agreement. Ashley, quickly, let us make preparations and rendezvous here promptly. We mustn't waste any time with Cyrus roaming around freely. Ashley nodded. And they're just going. The three of us sped down the stairs and split up the second floor landing. Missy continued further down. Ashley and I took a sharp turn toward the climbing center. Missy's gonna end up dead, isn't she? Every time, I'm gonna be saying that every time we're separated from somebody, and there's like two of us in one group, and then one of us is alone, I'm just gonna be thinking, oh, that person's dead. They're dead. Something's gonna happen. I was struggling to keep up with but eventually closed the distance between us as she dug through the lockers in search of rope. Isn't this too extreme? Look, it sounds harsh, but it's necessary to prevent further killing. The last thing I would want is to not keep an eye on Cyrus and have you get killed, Echo. No single soul is exempt from death. There's no gray area about it. I understand that, but... What did I say? What the fuck did I say? What did I say about somebody getting deaded? Of course, Missy, the smart one, who's not tweaking the fuck out, and is kind of on our general side, in general, as the people who are trying to be rational, just ends up fucking dead. Before I could finish my thought, a shot was heard ringing through the air. The shot sounded like it came from above. What? Hold on. I guess she, went down and she got there pretty quick. Missy? She must have encountered Cyrus before us. Ashley wrapped a bundle of rope around her forearm, grabbed my hand once more, and darted up the stairs towards the third floor. That was, real quick of Missy to get up there, if she did get up there. She stopped me at the foot of the stairs and cautiously looked around the corner at the main hallway. That's a second shot. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 5. The sound of another shot exploded through... Oh. Hold on. Let me read the log, please. I misclicked. She stopped at the foot of blah, bang. The sound of another shot exploded through the air. It sounded like it came from the smoke lounge. What's going on? Before I realized what was happening, I felt my body move on its own. Ashley had thrown the art gallery's doors open and forced me in. Ash, what on earth are you doing? She slammed the doors behind us as I stumbled in. Oh my god, my freaking mouse is pissing me off. My mouse is kind of broken, so I'm sorry. I left click and it'll right click as well. Echo, take cover here and don't move a muscle until I get back. She commanded me from the other side of the door as I tried to steady my footing. In my state of dishevelment, I stayed put, not knowing what else to do. I heard her footsteps soften as she put furthering distance between us. Missy? Slam. I'm super worried, and I'm getting... This is gonna sound weird. I'm gonna be, like, theorizing all the damn time. But what if Ashley is the mole? What if she is, like, the supposed spy, and that's why Pandora, one of the first and nicest people she met in this group, you know, had the note on her that she was gonna be okay as long as she didn't tell anyone. And, like, the overly concerned nature of Ashley when it comes to, like, the ultimate stuff, wanting to keep us out of it. Gives me just the slightest feeling that she could possibly also be a mole. Bang, that's 3 out of 5. And I was shaking. I hurtled toward the door. I couldn't help but fear the worst, attempting to pry the doors open. Clatter, clatter. But the doors wouldn't budge. Upon closer inspection, the doors had no keyhole or latch that would keep them locked. Huh? Locked how? I'm assuming she used a rope. I looked around hastily for something to help me get out. Bro, just go through the garage. Oh yeah, the garage is connected to the art gallery. I can leave the door through there. I can leave through there. I ran to the double doors that led to the garage and tugged. Clatter, clatter. But the doors were similarly blocked. Looking again, these double doors had nothing preventing them from being open. Somehow, both sets of doors had been locked. No way. How could this be happening? I gasped, collapsing to the ground at the inexplicable situation I found myself in. Missy. It's possible Missy was out there with the gun. 4 out of 5. Confronting Ashley, I felt a cold sweat forming on my face. Missy, you asked us to trust you. I couldn't believe how stupid I was for believing in trust. I should have... I picked up the gun when it was in the foyer. Trust. Footsteps. I heard footsteps from the main hall side of the doors. Lal, you must be a raving madman if you think you can run around the building alone. I'm not doing anything suspicious. I'm doing everything I can to get us out of here, unlike the rest of you. And what are you doing poking around in one of the 3rd floor rooms anyway? How did you even get in there? That is none of your business. Voices. I heard the faint voices from the main hall side of the art gallery. I sprung up from the floor and banged on the door from inside the art gallery. Hey! Whoever's out there, let me out! I hammered on the door until my fist fell through the air. Echo? Fucking sigh. Thank goodness. Say, you saved us. Say was on the 3rd... Okay, so Say was in somebody's room somehow. And obviously, Lyle is going to be sussed out about her. Lockpicking. Maybe skills from being a worker of watches. I imagine you could learn a thing or two about working with, like, delicate things like that. Not that picking a lock is inherently delicate work, but, you know, maybe the skills translate somehow. I'm not too sure. Say was on the other side of the door, holding a bundle of rope. There's no time to explain. I was falling all over myself, running toward the sound of shots. Everything was a blur as I darted across the hall, to the smoke lounge and threw the door open. Okay, who's dead? Okay, Cyrus is dead as fuck. Cyrus's body was lying face up, blood staining his torso and hands. I guess they were struggling for the gun, and, either Ashley or Missy shot him. Those are the main 2 suspects. Unless there's a 3rd party, potentially Sai. Because this is the thing. I still believe this, that Missy couldn't... There's no way Missy could have gone all the way downstairs and back up before Ashley and Echo got up there. Because they were 2nd floor. They were, like, the closest to getting their things, the rope, than Missy was to getting the gun. And who was down the stairs? Sai was the only one downstairs. So I feel like my theory about her getting the gun is right, but then again, why her why are her and Lyle the only ones up here then? I can imagine Missy is downstairs just looking for the damn thing. But then if she heard the gunshots, she should be running up here. We'll see if we see her. I sharply inhaled and trembled at the sight. Say shook out a small startled response before disappearing from the smoke lounge entirely. I stood rooted in place, fear and confusion paralyzing me. The smoke lounge was in a complete state of chaos with Cyrus's bloody body drawing my gaze. Furniture was strewn about, glass cabinets were shattered, and fabric sprinkled the messy floor. My head stung. The miasma of alcohol rushed through my senses, mixed with the thick odor of smoke and metallic scent of blood created an awful nausea-inducing headache. God damn. Okay, so he stumbled in from the casino and went over here and collapsed. And there's gasoline, or a jerry can, which I assume is from the garage. For what purpose? The double doors that connected the smoke... Oh, there's also something on the floor. I can't tell what it is, though. Fire extinguisher, maybe? The double doors that connected the smoke lounge to the casino was ajar. A morbid curiosity took hold. I cautiously approached a slight opening. I pushed slowly and... Don't tell me somebody else is fucking dead, too. Oh, no, bro. Okay, she's not dead. She's not dead. She's not dead. She's not dead. She just has blood on her. Ashley's body was strewn on the floor. Blood stained her hands. All my instincts escaped me and my mind went completely blank. White noise filled my thoughts. I crumpled to the floor beside her, but my hands wouldn't go anywhere near Ashley's body. And a slam intruded my daze. Cannon and Forte closed in on Ashley's body and were voicing their concerns, but I heard nothing. My senses were scrambled. The only thing I heard was the murmur of their voices. Above the murmur of their voices was... She better not be dead. She doesn't look dead. The eerie chime indicating... A body has been discovered in the smoke lounge. You will be granted a period of investigation, and then we will begin our class trial. Please accept this generous gift of a special report called the Monokuma file. It will be printed from the digital kiosk, and it outlines the details of our poor lost friend. Your lives depend on solving this case, so get a crack on. I could feel my body shaking, and I couldn't take my eyes off of Ashley's body. The body discovery announcement in Ashley's body? Did that mean... I heard footsteps approach from behind. Missy crouched down beside me and rested her hand on my back, lightly shaking me. Echo! Echo! I couldn't respond. I just sat on the floor staring. Missy reached past me, toward Ashley's body. Missy, could it be? Life moved in slow motion as I tried to connect what I heard outside the gallery to the horrible scene at hand. Missy carefully moved Ashley's hair, gently placed 2 fingers on the side of her neck. Missy, don't you dare touch her. She's alive. She's... alive? My heart was pumping and I felt new life breathe into me as I processed the revelation. Look, her bracelet isn't neon pink. Her pulse is extremely weak, but Ashley is alive nonetheless. Isn't there an infirmary anywhere? She needs attention quickly. I'll check the casino kiosk for a map. Cannon swiftly left as the rest of us gazed in astonishment. My stare remained on Ashley's bracelet. Missy was right. It remained the same light rose gold color as mine, unlike when Pandora's turned neon pink. Even if that were the case, what was wrong with her? I searched for an infirmary on the kiosk, but it only displays the floors we've been to. Then, does that mean there isn't one? No, there is an infirmary, but... the infirmary is connected to the courtroom. My body kicked into action as I sprinted out of the casino toward the third floor elevator and slammed the buttons. Echo! I need to get her out of here. Take me to the courtroom. I shouted at nothing as the elevators refused to open. I continued to hit the button fruitlessly. Echo, please. I know it will be difficult, but it seems we must investigate in order to gain access to the courtroom. Missy had followed me all the way out here. We wouldn't want the entire to enter the trial without preparing ourselves. Therefore, we must work quickly if we're going to bring Ashley back. Please. I slammed my forehead against the elevator door in defeat. Isn't there, like... I know we can't go to the courtroom without the elevator, but, like, isn't there stairs that we can, like, go down and at least bring her down to one of the rooms? Her room, Echo's room. I didn't read that. Damn it. Ashley. I let out an immense, heavy sigh. My chest heaved and I felt my breath escape in shaking, broken pieces. I'll do whatever it takes. Atta pal. I dragged my feet as Missy and I made our way to the crime scene. It could be possible Cyrus picked up the gun, went upstairs. Well, I don't know why the other stuff is around here though. A kiosk is broken. Maybe somebody tried to type something in there. My assumption is he had the gun. I really don't want Ashley to be the one that had killed him because, you know, that would be sad. We're doing this again. This horrible, horrible thing. Searching for the culprit behind the sickening scene only to put them on the chopping block for the game to continue anew afterwards. I feel like the little thing there on the ground was used to, like... No, because then if it was used to knock somebody out, that being Ashley, then they would have been drugged to that room, not, like, walked over there. Unless this is made to be seen as if she walked herself over there? The cycle was torturous. Despite that, Ashley was alive. I tried to clear my head. Yes, Ashley was barely hanging by a thread of life, but she was alive regardless. I need to figure out who did this. Someone took Cyrus's life and threatened Ashley's. There's no gray area about it.
Danganronpa.
I like how there's that robotic voices going, Danganronpa. Phototip propped open the double doors to keep the smoke lounge and casino separate. Propped open the double doors that kept the smoke lounge and the casino separate so we could move freely between them. In the smoke lounge, Lau stood, looming over Cyrus's body. Say was in the smoke lounge as well, gazing at the body from a distance. In the casino, Forte put Ashley in a recovery position and was monitoring her. Cannon was standing between the rooms, glaring at the trail of debris. I took another screenshot by accident. Missy went to investigate the smoke lounge and I was left to look on my own. Investigation commence. Alright. Let me eat what was left in this little bag of trail mix. It's not little at all, it's like a decent size. You know, I was thinking Cyrus was going to be a lot more important, but there was also the fact that I did say earlier, and Ashley and Missy also mentioned the fact that it was kind of dangerous for him to be playing this game, to be so antagonistic, because obviously it makes him an obvious target. But I do think somebody's trying to set Ashley up because there's bloodstains on the handle There's bloodstains leading away into the room. If it is Ashley, then it's Ashley, right? It's one of two things. The simplest answer is that it's Ashley. The not simplest answer is that somebody knocked Ashley out after whatever went on with the gun, possibly killed Cypher before Ashley even got to the room. I lost my thought. Right. It's completely possible that somebody killed Cyrus while he was in the room. Star gets blasting to make it seem like there was a fight. Ashley runs in there, tries to figure out what's going on. She gets knocked out, and then she gets framed by, you know, having blood and whatnot put on her hands. That's gonna be my main idea. A blowtorch, what for? It's a blowtorch. So that's where he was getting from the kitchen earlier. Huh? What are you talking about? I recall I crossed paths with Cyrus earlier in the morning, a bit before I started testing the rules by destroying the ovens. It was a brief meeting, but I was curious as to why he was in there as well. He must have smuggled the butane torch out. And you didn't say anything? Why should I have? I mean, you could have stopped him far in advance from whatever he was going to do with it. He's dead and clearly didn't get the chance to do anything with it, and with anything anyway. Yeah, okay, and? God, he's so frustrating to deal with right now. The kiosk? The kiosk has been knocked over. There's a faint streak of blood on the screen. It appears to be broken. How do you figure? I'm just taking a shot in the dark, but I think the Manakume file was printed from the casino kiosk because this one wasn't operational. Canon was the victim report. Canon has the victim report if you want to take a look. Probably some technology involving proximity or some such. I really couldn't say since that sort of thing is out of my depth. I wonder if the kiosk being knocked over has anything to do specifically with what happened here. I can't say. The streak of blood implies that it may have been interacted with. But to what extent is beyond me. The kiosk being knocked over may have just been a casualty during whatever struggle occurred here, but the streak bothered me. Let me talk to Sei. Oh, Echo. Oh. Sei's hands were trembling. I'm so sorry about Ashley. It's scary, but I'm trying to pull through. It was a relief to see her still breathing, but I need to find out who would have such ill will toward her. It's very noble. If there's anything I can help you with, let me know. Actually, yes, there is. What is it? I was stuck in the art gallery when the crime was going on across the hall. Couldn't open the doors whatsoever. I heard some footsteps and voices after some time, so I banged on the main hall's doors. That's right. You were the first person I saw. Do you know why the doors were blocked? Yeah. The double doors handles were bound together with a rope. I'm guessing it was from the climbing center. So when I heard your voice from inside, I unbound the rope and you came running out. She demonstrated how she found the rope by replicating the state on the smoke lounge doors. Okay. Rope? I went with Ashley to the climbing center as she got the rope to bind Cyrus. Did the culprit steal it from her and instead bind the door to lock me in the art gallery? No, clearly not. That's strange. I was also wondering where you were earlier this afternoon. I know Missy tried to call you out this morning, but you declined. Sei's worried brow furrowed deeper. Well, I just thought that after events of yesterday, if someone was going to kill me, it doesn't matter what I do. Was she saying? And what I wanted to do was stay in my room. The killer could break my door down or whatever, but if it was going to happen, fate would find a way. So be it. You know, after I heard the second gunshot ringing outside, I peeked out of curiosity. Who even had a gun in the first place? But it was pointless. Lyle had to drag me out and run me all over three floors just to find a bunch of nothing. Say grumbled a train of thoughts to herself, but it didn't seem like she wanted an answer for her ponderings. I see. Well, thanks, Say. Say seemed to possess a haphazard reaction to their recent events. I should talk to Lyle to see if their stories line up. Lyle looked particularly aggravated. You don't say. Bro's been pissy the whole day if you haven't noticed. This place is a mess. There's no mistaking the fact that a struggle occurred. Seems to be the case. It's a shame I wasn't closer when this took place. Even after I swept the third floor earlier this morning, I managed to miss something as big as this. Call it bad timing. About that, where were you in this afternoon after the fact? Huh? Are you suspecting me? Well, no. It would just help to know where you were so we can say you were in the clear. That was what Say. Say? But didn't she keep herself locked up in her room all day? Beats me. All I know is that after I heard the second gunshot sound from the upstairs, I saw Say poke her head out of her room. And I dragged her out for my safety and hauled her around with me to find out where the shots were coming from. We were on the second floor by the time the third shot went off. So you two can vouch for each other's whereabouts? Yeah? What of it? Nothing. So Lyle has an alibi that can be verified by Say. What puzzles me the most is where did a gun even come from? Well, I don't expect you to believe me, but it was in Missy's possession. She brought it out to boldly state that she would not be firing it. She even recommended we travel in groups in case something bad happened. So even if by the off chance someone did fire it, we'd be in groups, able to witness alongside our partner. Say confirmed that she and Lau were together when they heard the gunshots, and neither of them were even aware someone had a gun in the first place. Lau was astonished. Really? What kind of tactician would reveal their hand like that? I mean, it was a symbol of trust in a way. I certainly am not going to use it to cause harm, and I really don't think Missy would. That aside, it almost seems like she was micromanaging everyone's expectations and locations by doing so. Yeah, kinda. I don't think she's in the best of minds when it comes to life and death scenarios either, to be fair. Like, she's a politician, she helps politicians, she's not used to directly dealing with death, really. So, for all we know, she was just a little too hopeful. Lau just scoffed and continued to loom over Cyrus's body. So let's talk to Missy? I fucking hate this. There we go. So 4 shots were fired, 4 out of 5 existing bullets in that gun's chamber. 4 shots. I noticed, however, there are 3 holes in the wall of the smoke lounge. Then those 3 weren't the ones that killed Cyrus. Yes, 1 bullet is lodged in his chest. The problem is finding out in what order these shots were fired. Which one was the one that killed him? Missy furrowed her brow. I don't think we don't have any forensics experts out here, so we're not gonna be able to figure that one out. We do have some amount of timing reference with Lyle mentioning that he and Say were on the second floor by the 3rd shot. So we have that. Echo. Her voice was a hushed whisper. I sincerely hope this hasn't tarnished your view of me. Huh? It's very clear that this crime has my name written all over it. I was the one who revealed the gun to be in my possession, I was the one who left it out in the open, and I have no partner to support my whereabouts during the crime. And despite that, I cannot tell you my alibi. Huh? Why not? Missy, what would you have me think after you just said all that? Please, trust me. I don't know if I can. She sighed. I cannot argue with that. We'll just have to let the trial discussion command our judgment. I must try to produce a compelling enough argument. Missy, yeah, I don't think Missy would have, like, pulled up and just shot the guy. I don't think she was there for it. That's my main theory. I don't think she was there for this whole debacle. I think she was probably downstairs. No, but if she was downstairs... No, she must have been up here then. Oh my god, this is confusing. So did she bring the gun up here or not? Like, she would have been waiting there if she did have the gun. But if she went downstairs and didn't see the gun, then I could see her trying to look for it or look for anybody who had the gun. But she wasn't downstairs by the time that Sai and Lyle were, you know, meeting up. I need to, like, get a timeline of this whole fucking situation. Okay, continue investigating. Can we... Okay, we can go over there. Gun. Missy's revolver, the weapon that took Cyrus's life. The gun handle is covered in blood. 4 shots were fired, leaving 1 bullet. Quite a few people knew about the gun, so it might be difficult to determine who want to retrieve it. Broken glass and torn fabric littered the floor around and underneath Cyrus's body. A struggle occurred here, that's for sure, and it took place before Cyrus fell. The display case must have broken during the altercation, and he was killed sometime after, falling on atop the refuse. And that makes sense. It seems like the only way the room could have gotten so messy. Well, of course, no one's going to be cautious about their surroundings when their life is on the line. Luckily, the blowtorch didn't ignite, otherwise we might have come across a fire-consuming scene with nothing but destroyed evidence. I guess it is lucky. Fuel canister? An overturned gasoline container. It's almost empty. Ew, it smells in here. Yeah, the smoke lounge wasn't really a pleasant place to begin with, but this... What do you mean? Well, when Ash and I visited the smoke lounge for the first time, the air was heavy and with cigar smoke, I'm assuming. So to see liquor and gas spilled all over the place and adding the smell, it's not helping much, I'll say that. I see. I didn't visit this place beforehand, so I can't really say, but I'll take your word for it. But gasoline seems out of place here, doesn't it? Yeah, I wonder if it came from the garage. I'm not gonna look at his body just yet. I'm gonna go to the second room. I don't know where are the gunshots located. Can we tell any of that? Maybe once we touch his body, we will not touch it, but, you know, investigate. Hey, smoke lounge. Is there anything else to glaze my eyes over? Let's just look at her. Okay, who's here to be discussed with? These two. I'll discuss with them. Forte. The scene is quite unruly. I'm uncertain whether it will be more or less difficult to determine the culprit in this scenario, considering the many questionable items lying around. Yeah, I suppose to what happened to Pandora, this is a bit jarring. Where were you, though? I remember seeing you go into the garage with Cannon earlier when we paired off to search the 3rd floor. Yes, and that is precisely where we ended up. Huh? The two of us were investigating the garage as thoroughly as possible, but found nothing of note. We then went outside to investigate the other personal room doors at the end of the 3rd floor, leaving headquarters hall. But as you may have figured out already, these personal rooms doors are locked. Shepakato. I heard him mutter something under his breath as he grazed a blue butterfly pin on his scarf, but I couldn't quite understand what was said. Brother, I'm gonna need you to stop speaking Italian randomly. I don't know what you're saying. Where was I? Cannon and I heard the first shot of 4. We rushed into the garage and barricaded the door from the inside. You barricaded the doors? We thought it would be the best course of action to protect ourselves. Neither of us had the gun, so it had to be someone else. A reasonable conclusion, is it not? After the first shot and through to the 4th, we hid away in the garage until we heard a commotion in the 3rd floor halls. Okay, so that's the reason we couldn't go through the garage door, was because Forte and Cannon were over there, just closing the place up, barricaded in there. It was quite frightening hearing all 4 of those shots in such close vicinity. I never thought we would come upon this gruesome scene. Forte sighed and mournfully looked at Ashley. So Forte and Cannon blocked the doors. That explains why the garage side double doors wouldn't open. Let me talk with Cannon, as Cannon can be. I need her input. I approached Cannon as she overlooked the 2 scenes from the doorway opening between the doors. You're probably wondering where I was this afternoon after we departed to search the 3rd floor. I was with Forte in the garage for a large portion of the afternoon, as well as during the duration of the 4 shots fired. You can vouch for my alibi. Okay, so now we need to think, if these 2 were there from the afternoon forward, that means nobody could have entered the room to get the gas while they were there. Maybe they know that something was out of place, and they'll tell us later in the courtroom. But they must have noticed something was missing. I mean, we didn't notice. Echo and Ashley didn't notice that there was any gas canisters missing, so I don't know. You and Ashley came upstairs after us, right? Yeah, we did. We didn't run into you 2 at all, though. We spent most of our time in the garage. It seemed to have the most potential for something useful out of the 4 rooms. Cannon silently surveyed the state of Ashley's body, then across the doorway to Cyrus's distant figure. Oh, here's the Monokume file. I got it from the casino kiosk. The victim was fatally shot above the heart. Estimate of death was 12:03. No further injuries detected. Okay. Like Pandora's file, this file is just as purposeless as in telling us what happened to Cyrus. As for Ashley, I can't say. Do you think she might have attacked? Like, hit over the head? Do you think she might have been attacked? Like, hit over the head or something? I guess. It's not impossible, but she's pretty tall considering. It would be hard to say that she was attacked with what she was attacked with, though. There's nothing on the casino side of the doors that could be used as a weapon. Our discussion fell flat. You seem a little more open today. Forte and I had a small parlay in the garage. In short, he told me I shouldn't try to forego attempts to escape this game. She grumbled under her breath and exhaled sharply. Despite Cannon's frustration, she ended up providing me more open conversation today, likely as a result of wishing to avoid being caught in the same voiceless situation she was in during yesterday's trial. Okay, with that over with, I guess we'll just look at the bodies now. Ashley's body? Ash, hang in there. I want to see her hands. Nice shoes. Okay, hand. Ashley's hands were covered in blood. She didn't appear to have any sort of wounds, so the blood on her hands could have potentially come from only one place. Did Ashley try to prevent Cyrus's death? If that were the case, whoever shot Cyrus could be the same person who took Ashley out so she wouldn't reveal the assailant. I mean, assuming she, got on her knees and, tried to apply pressure, sure, then she would have been low enough to get hit in the head. I mean, we should literally be checking if she did got hit. Like, you would be able to tell if she got hit in the head. There would be a bruising or something. Why did that flash? Okay, you're just not gonna tell us anything? Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I see what was seen by Echo and not mentioned. Her damn little wristband is gone. Where is it? Who took it? Where is it? Okay, we have a problem in our hands. Somebody has something they shouldn't have. And the fact that they took it off means that theoretically she's safe from getting gassed by the thing that's there? I don't know. We know somebody who's breaking the rules is Lyle, so maybe it's Lyle who got his hands on it? No, I doubt that. Whoever caused this whole mess. Couldn't have been Lyle though, but Lyle's like the only one who's breaking the rules, and well, I haven't heard the rule about taking off your bracelet, so he did mention, you know what, it could be because of the fact that he did mention the rules could be broken and there aren't any consequences for them. At least some of them. So who was in the kitchen when we heard about the rules being broken? Ashley, Echo, who else? Forte. Right? Was Forte in there? No. Hold on. No, yeah, Ashley, Missy, Forte, Echo. But that was before the investigation, right? We came back to the kitchen. And I think it was just Ashley, Ashley, Echo, and Missy. I don't know if there's a fourth person. So does Missy have the fucking bracelet? I am so confused. This is like, so many things are happening. Okay. Well, with nothing else to look at, let's look at Cyrus's body. The gun wound was, sorry. Let me just clear my voice a little. The gun wound was front and center in Cyrus's chest. Blood had soaked through his shirt, the deep pigment inundated the cloth and oozed onto the carpet. The shot wound very clearly told his cause of death. But my eyes were more curiously drawn to Cyrus's blood-stained hands. The blood could have come from one source, his wound. He must have tried in vain to stop the gun wound from bleeding out. I trembled at the thought of what ended up being a futile act. There has to be more. There has to be more. This is genuinely like such a mess in comparison to the last situation. Let me see if I can talk to Forte again. Could we go to the casino? Okay, we can't look at him anymore. Sorry, like I said, my mouse is like getting freaky. I gotta get a new one at some point. I can't talk to them, they're done talking. Casinos, anything? Okay, I will use the restroom and then come back and continue on with this little after investigation thing, because holy moly, there's so much, there's genuinely so much to consider this time around. I forgot to take a little photo so that I could do that. Let me see, I can't look at her body anymore. Damn it, I should have done that while I was looking over her body. I'm sure I can find another image on the internet. I wanted a screenshot though. I'm dumb. Should have taken a screenshot while I had the chance. Alright. Well, save. And we shall continue. Kinda hope that isn't like it. Dot. I let out a deep sigh. Conducting an investigation was harrowing, and I was exhausted beyond belief. And our group was already so small, yet given everyone's paired alibis, it became difficult to say who was behind this crime. It's difficult to say, barring one person. What was Missy thinking? Has she been lying to us this whole time? No, I couldn't jump to conclusions so quickly. It wouldn't be fair to Missy. Regardless, I had a bad feeling about all this. Okie dokie, you all know what time it is. It's time for the class trial. I hope you have enough ammunition to shoot down the culprit. If not, then guess you're all out of luck. The elevator will take you all to the courtroom once everyone has boarded. So make it happy, make it snappy. Make it happy. This isn't a time to be happy at all. Make it snappy. The timer for your bracelets to release toxic gas is set for 10 minutes after this announcement ends. Don't drag your feet. I rubbed my forehead in distress. This vicious cycle we couldn't see the end of continued once more. Why? I went over to Ashley's side and sat next to her. And I gently placed 2 fingers at her wrist and felt the faint pulse. It was such an eerie feeling, knowing Ashley was still alive but so close to death. There we go. I got a screenshot. Forte laid his hand on my shoulder. Echo, we really ought to get going lest we find ourselves in danger of Zero's capricious ways. Yeah, you're right. Forte, would you mind? Not at all. Forte lifted Ashley from the knees with ease, carrying her to the elevator. From the knees? From the knees with ease. Oh, like... Hold on. Nah, that confuses me. I followed behind him, trying to keep a close distance to Ashley. I don't know what carrying her by the knees mean. Like, I'm assuming he, like, lifted her up, like, bridal style or something. Listen, there's only, like, 2 carries I know. Fireman carry and bridal carry. That's it. Once again, our group apprehensively sauntered onto the elevator. Our community had shrunk by 3, yet in the elevator cab we were divided further. Lyle and Say, Cannon and Forte with Ashley in arms, myself, and Missy. Distrust hacked away whatever threadbare remaining connection we had. But this time, damning signs pointed at one person in particular. Missy Vesper. Every time I read her full name, I want to say Miss Vesper. Missy provided nothing to disprove those signs. Cyrus had been removed from the picture. Ashley was at the cusp of following. I was confused, hurt, and alone. What was I going to do during this trial? I don't know. The doors opened up and revealed the circular room once more. This is gonna be so irritating for anybody, like, listening to me. And I'm so sorry about that. I rushed in and raised my voice, calling at the expense of nothingness in the room. Zero? Eve, we know that there's an infirmary connected to the courtroom, so please help Ashley. At a flash, the symbol of the other announcer, Eve, appeared. Echo, there is a cross button for the infirmary in the elevator. The doors will open on the opposite side of the courtroom, leading you to the infirmary. There we go. I turned around and the courtroom side elevator door opened. I hopped in and pressed the cross button, opening the doors behind me. Forte swiftly carried Ashley in and gently laid her on the infirmary bed. He stepped aside as I clambered to the bedside. Ash, please be okay. It was impossible to tell if she was breathing. Every inhale and exhale was so small and withered. A glass encasing lowered to cover Ashley and the monitor began displaying her vitals. Her heart rate had plummeted to 45 beats per minute. How many were we supposed to have per minute? I kind of forgot how many human heartbeats there are supposed to be per minute. I'll be honest, I'm not a medical man. I will do my best to monitor her. Please leave your worries at the door. There is greater matter at hand awaiting you. Yes, Echo, we need to begin the class trial. Her health is out of our hands. We can only do so much. The best thing we can do for now is find the culprit. Our discussion will reveal what occurred. Yeah. I steadily stepped back. That's a good screenshot too. Ashley, I'll figure out what happened to you. Will we in time though? I swear on my life I'll find the culprit. Forte and I left the infirmary, crossing the elevator that connected the infirmary onto trial grounds. Heavy clouds hung over the dome glass ceiling. Everyone was already in their places as Forte and I crept to ours. Another murder. It was unreal. Cyrus's mild and unassuming demeanor made a 180 when his talent of ultimate charisma was revealed to be a ruse. He quickly suffered the consequences, his sudden aggressive temperament coming to a full stop out of nowhere. Yeah, dangerous game he played. In Ashley's worrying condition, what could have possibly happened in the two rooms when we found them in? Me. Sorry. However, despite the behavior Cyrus displayed, it was still shocking that someone would actually retaliate. Somehow it felt like a hasty overreaction. But then again, a hasty reaction was what essentially pushed Art to bring Pandora's demise. It was difficult to call Art the culprit after the lack of black and white intention. But in the grand scheme of things, the rules of society were set to deliver retribution to those who committed crimes. Who's to say this place operated under the same conditions? And there's also the portraits up there. The courtroom scene was eerily silent as we waited for Zero to appear. The atmosphere was justifiably tense. Lyle and Say shared a similar dark vibe. Kenan and Forte both looked unnerved. And Missy managed to put a poker face despite the situation. Yeesh, it's about time you guys got here. And again, I have to say, it's so weird how quiet you bunch are. Is no one amped up for another class trial? I put a lot of work into these, you know. And of course we're not excited, you knave. Hey, Missy is so mean. It's a shame no one's excited, but the ball's gonna keep rolling whether you like it or not. Class trial, all rise. I can't read for my life sometimes, people, and I need to get that checked out. Let's go over the rules, shall we? You're all on trial to figure out who the culprit of today's heinous crime is. The rules are as follows: discuss, discover, and determine who the culprit is among your group. A majority vote will seal the individual's fate, and we'll just see what happens from there, yeah? One of the few outcomes will occur. determine and vote incorrectly, and the entire class is executed, with the culprit alone able to walk free and win the ultimate prize. That's the ideal endgame for the culprit. Determine and vote correctly, and the culprit alone will receive proper retribution and perish at the hands of your group decision. Phew, you just might live to see another day. Our victim today is Cyrus Surgeric, the ultimate charisma, more like ultimate nonsense. Was no one suspicious of his name and talent? I would be. It really shouldn't be a surprise that anyone that charisma was not really his talent. Regardless, I called out his drivel last night, and look where we are now. You all were quick to take what I said to heart, huh? Well, I'm glad. Saves me from having to get a motive set up and all that. So without further ado, discuss away. Don't mind if I do. Lyle, Missy, you think you know what I'm going to say, huh? Then say it for yourself. You think I'm suspect? Oh, gold star. The point is moot. I'm not the culprit, and that's all I'll say on the matter. And why do you expect me to just roll with that? Because if you all vote incorrectly, then we'll all be in danger. Prove my innocence, or take my word for it. Missy, what's going on with you? Don't you think that's a bit much to ask given the circumstance? I have my convictions. I'm refusing to share my alibi for my own reasons. And yet you don't fear the consequences? You're ridiculous. I'll lay it all nice for you, okay? And then we can discuss whether or not holding your tongue is the wisest thing to do in this scenario. Consider the facts. You're not partnered with anyone. You were not partnered with anyone. You refused to share an alibi, and you were the one who had the gun in the first place. Do you know what killed the victim this time? A gunshot. You likely proposed traveling in groups so you could operate on your own. Isn't that all too damning not to be true? Despite her dangerously challenging Lyle, I held my belief in Missy steadfast. I wanted in all sincerity to trust everyone involved in this horrible game, but considering 2 people have been murdered, 1 executed, and 1 attacked, it was becoming difficult to justify my stance. I didn't understand. What was there for Missy to hide? You know what? Forget it. I'm taking charge of this discussion. Once again, I can only rely on myself. Echo, you're a walking record of events. Tell me why I shouldn't trust Missy was alone during the crime. Walking record? I'm not some encyclopedia of evidence. Or canon if you have some sort of weird photo, fess up. Echo or canon, I don't care. One of you ought to pipe up with something we can work with. It can't be possible that neither of you 2 saw anything. Lyle has his sights set getting something out of me and Cannon, but as far as I know, neither of us could have seen anything. Shut up, Lyle. I have no photograph of the sort. But when we arrived on the 3rd floor, we didn't see anyone in the halls. I was in the garage with Forte for the majority of the afternoon. Yes, as soon as we heard the first shot, I suggest we retreat to the garage and blocked the entry from the 2 doors, the main hall door and the art gallery door. As for me, after the 2 shots were fired, I found myself stuck in the art gallery. The 3rd floor activity rooms can't be locked. Cannon and Forte blocked the garage side doors, and the main doors were just inexplicably blocked. Hold on, say, can you recall what happened when we met earlier, before we discovered Cyrus's body, that is? When we met, you came tumbling out of the art gallery when Lyle and I arrived on the 3rd floor. Yes, but I couldn't leave the room from the inside. Oh yeah, Lyle, when we arrived on the 3rd floor, there was a banging coming from the gallery, and I couldn't check to see who or what was inside until I unwound the rope that bound the double doors together. Okay, it should be pretty clear who did that. See, Lyle? There's no way either Cannon or I saw what happened during the crime. If anything, Sai and Lao's whereabouts ought to be grilled as well, since they could have more questionable actions than us. That's right. Say, Missy said you were alone in your personal room for a portion of the morning. Yes, she declined an invitation to my morning announcement. Yeah, but later, after I heard 2 shots, I poked my head out. Only to get dragged out of my room by Lyle. I was investigating the mansion. I figured if anything fishy was going on, I'd have a witness with me to back my testimony. And after nothing happened to us in particular, at least I had say there to support my alibi during the gunshots. And despite that, you still were acting suspicious this morning, smashing the ovens and all. Lyle, don't you think you yourself warrant an explanation for what you were doing? Huh? I don't need to justify anything I'm doing. I'm the ultimate puzzle master, put in this evil game to solve it inside out. If you all have any faith in your ultimate talents, you'll have faith in mine and my goals as well. I don't care if I break the rules, it's all part of the plan. I'll avenge Art, I'll stop the killings. And I'm solving this killing game on my own, come hell or high water. But didn't it occur to you that I'm on the same agenda? What? There aren't any stakes for you, Missy. Art was the only person I've encountered that made my talent worthwhile. I can only trust myself. I'll work alone until I can grasp the solution with my own hands. Only then will it be real. Everyone involved, they're all just pieces of this puzzle. Phew, what is it with this guy even saying? You're an oddball, Lyle. But thanks for reminding me. Reminding you of what? I don't have much power outside of the courtroom, believe it or not. Neef mostly controls and monitors all that outside boring stuff, but I knew you'd all eventually end up back here soon enough, so I just had to wait. Wait, what? With a snap, the trial wall slammed open to reveal a large metal hexagon adorned with a cruel-looking M. Lyle crumpled to the floor, and as we all backed away, astonished at whatever invisible pain was being inflicted upon him. It's a sonic weapon, high-powered sound waves from me personally to Lyle. This is what you get for fiddling with my door trap. Ah! I think Lyle's brain has been fried enough. There's no fun or suspense to be had in killing you myself unless I'm executing a culprit. Don't mess with my stuff. Somehow Lyle remained standing. Well, as long as we don't talk about messing with things, we can still mess with things. In theory, at least. Please, we must move the discussion along. Unless we face a similar dangerous fate, Shut it, Missy! We're here because of you! Lyle was livid, fighting back against collapsing by will of sheer force. I'm taking control of the discussion this time. Echo, I need you to recall as much information as you can about the murder weapon, the gun. What? What do you think you are, demanding such things? I'm Lao Termina, the ultimate puzzle master. Need I say it again? I'll solve this case like I've solved all the puzzles that have come my way. Your memories are a tool for solving this, and I'll be damned if I don't use something as instrumental as that. Get to it, Echo. I don't have all day. Alright, I'll try to relay what I remember to you all. Lau might have it out for Missy, but going over the timeline could help us put her in the clear. Yeah, I need that timeline for sure. I think it would be best to start from when the murder weapon was revealed. Maybe then we could trace who had it in the final moments. Who was originally in possession of the gun? Frickin' Missy. Missy Vesper was the one who initially revealed the gun this morning. She said she woke up in her personal room with the gun given to her as a test to see whether or not she belonged with the preservation project. Missy called me and some of the other students to discuss possessing the gun. Who were the other students in the group? Ashley, Missy, Cannon, Lyle. No, Lyle wasn't there. Forte, yeah. Missy assembled a small group for the meeting. There, she brought the existence of the weapon to our attention and discussed her intentions with the gun. She would not to cause any harm with it. The group consisted of Forte, Ashley, Missy, and Cannon as well. Everyone at that morning meeting agreed to place an implicit trust in her peers. Missy left the gun in the foyer. After the meeting, Missy left the gun in the main foyer table, wrapped in the cloth she had been carrying it in. After discussing the existence of such a weapon, something happened. We heard loud destroying the kitchen. We discussed the existence of the gun, among other things, until we were interrupted by a loud sound coming from the kitchen. Our whole group went over at... Okay, so it was the whole group. Our whole group went over at once to see what was going on, and there we found Lyle destroying the kitchen oven as a means to test the rules. Lyle announced that he would solve the killing game and went to the 3rd floor. Yeah, he kinda dipped. Come on. Son of a gun. Lyle said he would solve the game, and absconded to the 3rd floor to look for more clues, all the while clutching the secret note from yesterday. He left the kitchen and took the elevator up as the rest of us remained in the foyer, confused. Shortly after, Cyrus appeared at the top of the 2nd floor stairs, causing someone to act. Missy. Shortly after Lyle disappeared for the 3rd floor, Cyrus made an appearance at the top of the 2nd floor stairs. Missy went up to confront Cyrus by having a conversation with him in the jazz club. The rest of us went to investigate the 3rd floor for an escape route. I believe it's worth mentioning that Cannon and Forte went up first, with me and Ashley following afterwards. None of us took the gun. From the looks of it, Missy and Cyrus's conversation in the jazz club is a gray area that none of us were privy to. Care to explain yourself and why we shouldn't be suspicious of a private altercation moments before his murder? I was attempting to extract information from him. As you know, he was acting intensely suspicious yesterday. However, rather than avoid him, I thought to take action and confront him head first. You mentioned this before, but can you explain why you think he put on a facade? I mean, for all we know, every word out of his mouth could be a lie. Body language. Huh? Body language? It seems Cannon noticed it as well. Cyrus's body language gave off the impression that he's tense, as if he were being pursued or under stress. Actions speak louder than words, after all. That's true. I did think he looked a little more foreboding than usual. Ultimately, did you get any information from him? Unfortunately not. He was just the same stubbornly cryptic person as he was last night. So, that's it? In Echo's recollection of people involved with the murder weapon whose name came up several times? Whose name came up several times? Missy. So, you don't think your course of action would heavily imply a murderous intent that led to this circumstance? We need to mention the plan that she and Ashley kind of cooked up, like, on a whim. Yes, signs are strenuously pointed toward me being the one behind it all, but I don't wish to divulge the reasons behind those actions. I didn't want to admit it, but was beginning to have my doubts about Missy. But if this discussion was worth anything, it had to be a test whether or not I could really trust Missy. She revealed a gun after all, and asked us to tactically trust her. Should I even trust her to begin with? What if she was just goading someone on to be incriminated so she could get away with it? It's just that we haven't it's like fucking nothing. There's nothing. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I want to say yes. Like, obviously, I want to say yes. But all of it is like pointing to no that don't trust her. And like her whole thing is displaying information in the best lighting. That's like a part of her shtick. And so, like, I don't know, because why would she? Like, if she was holding Cyrus at gunpoint and was threatening and was like, because I feel like she would be straightforward with him. She would be like, stay still or I'm gonna hurt you. And Cyrus doesn't, he may have been tense, but I don't know if, the issue is I don't know if Cyrus would have like tried to fight back against that, or if he would have like chilled the hell out. And we still haven't discussed whoever the hell was having that altercation about being in somebody's room that they weren't supposed to be in. Obviously it was Lyle and Say. No. Well, was he talking to Say? Who was Lyle talking to? And that's the question. I don't know if he was talking to because Say said there wasn't anybody upstairs. Hold on. That conversation has to be the key to this, because it was Lyle and somebody else, and it couldn't have been him and Say, because him and Say, he dragged Say from downstairs. He wouldn't be asking, what are you doing in somebody else's room while he's on the 3rd floor? And we already discussed that Forte and Cannon couldn't get to anybody else's room. Is it possible that Missy's alibi is Lyle? I'm just gonna say I'll trust her on this. Like, I think there's still, this is part of the issue. There's still so much that has not been discussed. So I literally cannot make a good decision. I just have to go off of gut feeling. A slight nitpick of the game, I might say itself, is just that they want me to make decisions when I still have, we've only discussed 30% of the information so far. Like, there's, still very key and important things that would be mentioned realistically. So let's just say, yeah, just trust her, I guess. I want to believe in her. That meant scrutinizing her actions to free her from suspicion. We couldn't afford to jump to conclusions. If I may, I think we need to turn over as many questionable facts as we can to lift suspicion. I agree, and the evidence is unmistakably painted with Missy's name, but I am still not convinced she would have such malicious intent to kill Cyrus. Missy was the one who suggested splitting up to find things that could threaten Cyrus into talking, but she made it clear that she never had any intention of firing the gun. Is that so? It was after she had her conversation with Cyrus in the morning. Our morning group of Kano, Forte, Ashley, and myself paired off to investigate the 3rd floor for an escape route. After some time, Missy met up with me and Ashley outside the garage to talk about Cyrus's weird behavior. It was then that she discussed with Ashley the idea of threatening Cyrus to talk. And this was just before the shots began. Then it's clear that she used the opportunity to act alone and retrieve the gun herself to shoot Cyrus. How could bringing that up lift suspicions from Missy? If anything, it's more damning proof. That's my cue. let me just take a little screenshot of that. That's like the first time that's happened. Wait a minute, please. What I don't understand is, why would Missy kill Cyrus if she didn't get the information she wanted? I can only assume the following for her case. She made an attempt to have a civil conversation with Cyrus, only to walk away empty-handed. The motivation is lost, and there shouldn't be any reason to threaten him further in that case. Oh sure, make something up in her defense, will you? I can't doubt Missy now. She's the one who made the bold move of bringing the gun to our attention. Now I have to trust that she didn't do anything wrong. There's no telling what transpired between Missy and Cyrus. Seeing as all of us witnessed her contentious interaction with him at the jazz club, it might take some work to get Lyle on the other side. Missy could be lying about not getting information, just like she's withholding her alibi. Give it up. Why should we be protecting the culprit? Missy is the only one with actions of glaring noteworthy suspicion, and if you can disprove it, then by all means. This could be part of her plan to lead us in circles during the discussion with her lofty admissions. And there's no telling what transpired between Missy and Cyrus, seeing as all of us witnessed her contentious interaction with him in the jazz club. It might take some work to get Lyle on the other side. I don't think that's the solution, but it's not necessarily protecting the culprit as it is trusting Missy didn't have malicious intentions. That's nonsense. There's no hard proof on something like trust. If we blindly trust everyone who just asked us to, nothing would get done. Shoot, he's got a point. Trust can't be used to prove anything in this stage. Yeah, it was the second thing. Hang on a minute. Just a minute, we need to discuss every aspect of this case before jumping to any conclusions. I believe there's something at the crime scene that can clear Missy of suspicion. Then out with it. The blowtorch? No, the gun. There was blood on the gun. Or blood... Yeah, there was blood on it. I got no clue. I'm gonna go with that. Like, Missy didn't have blood in her hands. It's the only thing I can think of, but I need to spin this into an argument somehow. Although it has been noted several times that the gun puts Missy in a dangerous situation, there's something strange about the gun. Lyle, say, there's something I want you to recall for me. Before discovering the body, you two ran into Missy in the third floor main hall, correct? Yeah, that was right before I helped you out at the art gallery. Okay, so they did meet Missy. In that case, I want to ask, did you see blood on her hands? Blood on her hands? Nothing of the sort! So you didn't see blood stuck to her hands, but there was blood stuck to the handle of the gun. If Missy really did kill Cyrus by shooting him, why didn't she have blood stuck to her hands when you saw her? You wouldn't be able to forget something like that. Something shocking like blood-stained hands. Okay, there we go. Even that wrong choice kinda led us to something, huh? Simple answer, Missy could have washed her hands. When Say and I approached to the third floor, I saw Missy exit one of the personal rooms. She refused to share her alibi because she must have been plotting this crime with an accomplice on the third floor. That's why she was acting fishy when Lyle and I ran into her. Huh? I thought I heard something like that outside the garage doors. Oh yeah, that conversation. I heard parts of the conversation just before I called for help. Now that I think about it, I think I can figure out who was speaking at the time. Missy Vesper saying loud, "You must be a raving madman if you think you can run around the building alone. I'm not doing anything suspicious. I'm doing everything I can to get us out of here, unlike the rest of you. And what are you doing poking around in one of the third floor personal rooms anyway? How did you even get in there? It must be Darling or whoever that other person was. I forgot. I remember Silva, but I don't remember the associated person that was associated with Missy. I think it's Darling, something like that. That is none of your business. So you heard that. Yes. Say and I caught Missy in the act. She was poking around in one of the third floor personal rooms. And how do you suppose she entered the room? She entered the room using the resident's bracelet. What resident bracelet? How else would she have gotten in? The door was still intact, so it's not like Missy broke it down. The resident's room bracelet? How could she have acquired such a thing? I can only assume whatever Missy and Cyrus were talked about earlier might have to do with the fact that she acquired something she couldn't possibly... I can only assume whatever Missy and Cyrus talked about earlier might have to do with the fact that she acquired something that couldn't possibly belong to her. In fact, the idea alone of her entering someone else's room is cause for concern. That's true. How did she enter someone else's room? The mechanisms for room entry lies in our personal assigned bracelets. Similar to how the bracelets grant access to kiosks' functions, the doors must default to being locked and only unlock when we're nearby with the corresponding bracelet. There, the bracelets on our person can't unlock the doors that don't match. So Missy entering a room that is not hers implies she gained access through alternative means. What alternative means? What else? She was witnessed speaking to the only other student here that has been revealed to be associated with the killing game, Cyrus. Yeah, this is, fine, I yield. Cyrus offered me the bracelet of a student was closely acquainted with. Out of morbid curiosity, I was told to visit her room. Missy withdrew a small rose bracelet, similar to the one we all wore ourselves. Okay. So yes, not only do I have the bracelet on my person, but I do have a bracelet that does not belong to me. As for what I discovered in the room, nobody checked it out but her, huh? Well, that's as much as I'd like to say. And that's more than enough. There, we have it. That explains how she gained entry into the room, as well as lists of reason for her to retaliate against Cyrus. If that doesn't pin Missy down for a motive, then I don't know what will. She had such a thing this whole time? How was I supposed to defend something like that? So much evidence has stacked against Missy. Despite the overwhelming number of incriminating facts against her, Missy remained unflinching. It's like she's just waiting for what? For us to act on her behalf? Out of trust? Remember, I ought to use the gun to threaten him into talking. Make no mistake, I have absolutely no intention of firing it, but Cyrus doesn't need to know that. If Missy being withholding about her alibi, then there must be a reason behind it. I'll have to try to work with it rather than against it. I have to trust Missy's intentions, therefore I should try to construct an argument that doesn't involve her. Is there another angle I can approach this by? Before we learned of her activity in the room, we were in the middle of disputing the bloodstained gun. Lau has been aggressively utilizing the connections between Missy and the gun for his argument. But let's say we take her out of the picture, say she never came in contact with the gun. Perhaps we can tackle the argument from a different side. With just the gun solely in question, we can ask, who really handled the gun? Who handled the gun? Fine, why don't we entertain the thought? Given the blood-stained handle of the gun, whoever held the gun must have stained their hands in the process. There can only be two people who handled it. Cyrus and Ashley. So there we have it. Echo. Do you think Ashley is capable of killing? What? No way, Ash would never. After all, I'm certain she knows of the dangers of killing someone. Her own life would be on the line. So what? This is the only explanation plausible if we take your position of Missy's innocence into consideration. What if he killed himself? Now I'm just thinking about that. I mean, I don't see why he would. Nor how blood would get... I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking, but like, bloody hands... I guess your hands would get somewhat bloody if you, like, blam yourself in the chest, but, like, it wouldn't be enough to, you know, get on your palm and stain the handle. And then again, like, what purpose would that serve? Like, I don't know. There's too much in question. This is the only explanation plausible if we take your position of Missy's innocence into consideration. If Ashley's life were threatened, don't you think she would retaliate? Anyone would fight back. Okay, real question. Did Missy never mentioned whether she had the gun on her when she was talking to Cyrus and was given, like, was she given the bracelet with her conversation in the jazz room? Or did she come upstairs dragging Cyrus along, like, gun to him, and then they, like, traded or something? Because I can see that happening. I could see Cyrus being like, listen, I'll trade the gun for this bracelet. I know you want to get in there and figure out what's in that room, so give me the gun, and you take the bracelet. I think that's plausible. But then the random, like, gunshots and whatnot. I mean, in theory, it could have been an accident. Like, he's just blasting off so that the weapon can't be used. Ashley freaks the hell out, goes over there. It's like questioning what the guy's doing. Maybe something happened. It ends up with Cyrus shooting himself accidentally, maybe. And then Ashley tries to save him. And then she passes out somehow? I don't know. That's where the story kind of falls apart. If Ashley's life were threatened, don't you think she would retaliate? Anyone would fight back. Fight or flight, Echo. There were clear signs of a struggle in the lounge after all. That can't be it. Besides, you confirmed it yourself. We recognize that everyone has an alibi. And we've been neglecting talking about Ashley since she's unconscious. Wait, no. So if you really want to stand by Missy being trustworthy, then you have to realize that there must be someone else within our group that killed him. No, Ash doesn't have a motive either. Yes, she does. Echo, think about it. Throw away your relation to Ashley and think logically. Just because she isn't here to defend herself doesn't mean she's immune to being suspected. No. No. My head was pounding. I began to feel dizzy. If Ashley had the rope when we were together on the second floor, and there was no rope to be found at the crime scene, she must have found the doors of the gallery. Say confirmed that the rope kept me locked in the gallery. Ashley yelled out and left to confront something. If you think about whoever handled the gun, it can only be those two people. No. I don't want to think about it. Please. Stop this. They don't want to discuss Ashley's involvement due to their close relation, but there might be something important that we're missing. Something important that only Echo knows. Echo is guarding something. But they've painted themselves into a corner. There's no way to get out of this mess themselves. Yikes. Echo, you good over there? I can't accept this. If Echo refuses to understand that Ashley is the only one who is capable of handling the gun and shooting Cyrus, then I'll have to lay out all the pieces for them. Puzzle pieces as always. Echo, allow me to discuss the facts. All of them. Even the unsavory, trifling matters will come to play, just like when you were the one who noticed Art slipped up. If you insist on protecting Missy, there's one person whose action remained to be scrutinized. And Ashley is the culprit in this question. Do I have any objections? I apologize, Echo, but this topic cannot be ignored. Yeah, this is pretty important. The rest of the class remained silent as Echo glared a hole in me. Okay, so now we're playing from frickin' Lau's perspective? We're switching up characters? Again, let us begin with the weapon, the mysterious gun that came from Missy's possession. Seeing as the gun handled was stained with blood, we can surmise only two people were in contact with it. As we found on the crime scene, both Cyrus and Ashley had bloodstains all over their hands, which naturally leads us to believe one of them fired the gun. And I can concur with the assumption, as for now, it came to appear on the third floor. As to for how it came to appear on the third floor, just before the gunfire, Ashley and I hatched a plan to confront Cyrus. I was to use the gun as a show of threat. However, when I went to retrieve it from the foyer, it was missing before I had got to it. Okay, so Cyrus had the gun. It's plausible Cyrus got to it before you. Regretfully so. Then, at the speculated time in question, Cyrus is the only possible suspect to have initially retrieved the gun, since Echo, Ashley, Cannon, and Forte were elsewhere. Now, I believe we can all agree based on the sounds heard, there were 4 gunshots fired in total. In that case, we need to determine the order and relevance of each shot. Cannon and I boarded ourselves in the garage on the 3rd floor after the first shot. Rang out from the smoke lounge. We sheltered ourselves from there on out. And Lyle and I partnered up after the second, but we were all the way on the 1st floor. So we can determine these first 2 shots were not the life-threatening ones, since no one was within the vicinity of the smoke lounge, and there was 2 gunshots in the wall. However, between the 2nd and 3rd is where Ashley's alibi becomes problematic. Refute, you're wrong! There's nothing wrong with Ashley's alibi. I can verify for her. I was with Ashley from when she went to the 2nd floor to the climbing center, as well as when we went to the 3rd floor. I never let her out of my sight the entire time we were traveling down and up the stairs. Damn, Echo's thoughts and judgments are being clouded by their relationship to Ashley. I have to focus some more on Echo's statement and lay the facts straight so they understand. Okay. We can only verify it to a certain point. From when she went to the 2nd floor. Okay, let's see if we can challenge just a little bit. I never let her out of my sight. What's the clue that proved that they were separated? The rope. You're missing a piece in your argument, right? It's the fact they were locked away, buddy, like... But didn't you say Ashley shoved you in the art gallery just before you heard the 3rd shot? The rope binding the doors proved that there was a moment that you two were separated from sight. It's possible that she entered the smoke lounge in that time frame. In that case, the 4th and final shot ought to be the one that killed Cyrus. The only person left without an alibi, given Echo's testimony of the culprit's last movements, the only person left is Ashley. Another refute? No, Ashley yelled Missy's name. It's possible Missy was within the vicinity of the smoke lounge. Okay. After all, Missy's actions on the 3rd floor are still strange. We can't ignore that. Echo is struggling, trying to protect Ashley. What do we do? If there's anything you can think of that will cut through Echo's lies, tell them that the truth is out there. Okay, she yelled her name. Possible that Missy was within the vicinity of the lounge. It would have to be the account, no? Yeah, that's right. Just a minute. Wait, that's not possible. Remember, Lyle and I saw Missy exiting a personal room. She had just come out of the personal room when we arrived and only then began to act suspiciously. I suppose I ought to surrender holding my tongue. Yes, I was withholding after my alibi earlier, but the point of secrecy has passed now that my whereabouts have come into direct question. I kept my alibi secret to prevent beginning today's deliberation with immediate worry and disillusionment. I confess Cyrus bestowed upon me a terrible gift, this bracelet. It allowed me to access to a room that was not mine, a room belonging to a close personal acquaintance, one I hold in my thoughts often. I entered the room upon Cyrus's taunting instruction, and I see for and that I I entered the room upon Cyrus's taunting instructions that I see for myself what's become of this person. I discovered nothing save for my fears becoming reality. My alibi is as follows. I did not leave the third floor personal room I gained entry to after I heard the second gunshot. Therefore, I did not see Ashley on the third floor at all. Took you long enough to get that testimony out of you? But in that case, Ashley really is the only possible person to have encountered Cyrus in the smoke lounge. Therefore, we can assume from the appearance of the room that Ashley and Cyrus fought in the duration of the time between the third and fourth shot. The smoke lounge was in a state of array, but the casino wasn't. Ashley's body was found in the casino, so it's possible she never even set foot in the smoke lounge. No, there's no visible evidence of the two fighting. The two being separated means they didn't get into strife. Buddy, there's like blood over here. Echo needs to see the truth. Turning a blind eye is doing more harm than good. There was a clear answer. We just need to bring the truth into light. I mean, I wasn't gonna say the blowtorch or the gunshots or the glass, but I guess the glass is the closest thing. New tactic is in order. Echo, your judgment is clouded, and I think you know that. There was glass and blood littered near Ashley's unconscious body in the casino that could have only come from one place. The casino itself was spotless, free of signs of struggles. The detritus leading from the smoke lounge to the casino, however, tells a different story. With all the facts in mind, let's review. We've discovered everyone's paired alibis, Missy's room activity, and Echo's entrapment in the art gallery in relation to the gunshot timeline free stem from suspicion. We also determined Cyrus was the one who was initially wielding the gun, and that Ashley had plans to counter Cyrus's scheme. In the small period in which Ashley and Echo were separated, a struggle occurred between Ashley and Cyrus in the smoke lounge just across the hall, resulting in the disorderly state of the room. And yet at the end of it, one person came out alive and the other dead. Echo, you have to see that the culprit behind this is plain as day. What? No. Face the facts. There's only one possible answer. I refuse. I don't ever recall Ashley considering Cyrus a threat, so what motive would she have to kill him anyway? Echo, why are you lying? That couldn't be further from the truth. There must be anyone else involved. Anyone but her. Jeez. Echo, you really are a stubborn one. Don't you understand the danger we're in? Please, Echo, I understand this is a painful realization for you. We are just as mortified that such dreadful thing has happened. It's awful, but there has to be a reason, right? No. If there is a reason, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why would Ash endanger herself like this? Throwing her life away like this seems so careless. The gasoline. Maybe? But what kiosk? Did anybody check if there was a message? I mean, I don't know. Kiosk message, there wasn't one. Okay, that wasn't it. Allow me to step into the field. Okay. Like, tell me about the kiosk message. I believe I have the answer. Or rather, we all do. It seems Echo didn't see the kiosk message. No, I did not. So what the fuck? Kiosk message? Remember, the digital kiosks can deliver their dictated messages across the other kiosks in the building. That's correct. Kenan and I saw the message as we awaited at the gunfire in the garage. This message was dictated from the smoke lounge some time after the third shot was fired. And I recall it read, "Kill Echo." Yep, that's exactly right. No one asked you. Oh, I remember now. Lyle and I saw the second floor kiosk light up while we were running by. Come on! You heard the gunfire too, right? As so far there have been 3 shots, but where the hell did the gun come from? How should I know? Hey, slow down, I can't keep up. We can't take our sweet time in a moment like this. Lyle, look! The kiosk, it's displaying a message. Cyrus sent that message? The smoke lounge, that's on the 3rd floor. I never saw such a thing, but it's awfully damning in what it is implying. I concur, it's quite a pointless message. In that case, we can assume that Echo might have actively been Cyrus's intended target. Echo actually didn't endanger herself out of carelessness, but for your sake. She threw herself into the fray to keep yours safe. He threw her life into the fray to keep yours safe. Then there should be little doubt that the 4th shot must have been the one to kill Cyrus. The shot fired after Ashley left Echo's side. I don't understand. Why for me? I'm not like the rest of you. I'm no ultimate student. I can't survive this strife between ultimates. I don't have skills or talents to offer the world. It should have been me. The opposite end of the gun. But then how did you become knocked out is the question as well. Like, pardon me. The voice of Eve interrupted the looming courtroom silence. I don't know why I paused at Eve. I have an update on Ashley's health. She is steadily recovering at the moment. She's okay. However, I discovered traces of complex 53 in her system. Complex 53? Is that not the very substance Zero threatened time and time again to release? Yes, I examined the bracelet in her possession, and it appears that the glass vial has been shattered, allowing the liquid state to enter her system via absorption through skin. Wait a second, but the thing wasn't on her. Shattered? It's plausible that it broke from some kind of impact from Cyrus and Ashley's fight. Just a minute, the bracelet in her possession? Is it not her own bracelet? It is not. She had in her possession the bracelet of Silva Prowell. Ashley's bracelet is still intact. If she had Silva's bracelet, then there's no doubt she had a clear motive. And it's possible she was goaded on by Cyrus with the bracelet of an important figure, just as Missy was. No way. Cyrus probably just broke the vial himself and administered the liquid to Ash during the fight. Or Zero could have unleashed it to harm her. Zero's killing game announcement always talks about toxic gases, so it's possible he's the one behind it. Damn it, Echo. I'm tired of this. You still refuse to accept the reality of this case. Zero can't have done it, and I'll tell you why. It's simply not even up for debate. I was testing the rules early this morning, right? Rule 4 states that breaking major assets is strictly prohibited, but nothing happened all day. It was only until the beginning of this very trial I suffered the effects of Zero's sonic weapon as punishment for breaking the rules. If he waited until we entered the trial grounds to punish me, why would he unleash the Complex 53 toxin if there weren't any signs of Ashley's breaking the rule? Zero, did you or did you not release Complex 53 onto Ashley? What? I'm only the arbiter of this game. Answer. Nope, didn't do it. No, this can't be. You still don't get it? We've been running around in circles in this trial because you vehemently refuse to face the truth. Don't you have any value in your life? Your lapse in judgment is what will get us all killed. Lyle, have some sympathy, won't you? But I have to agree with you. Echo, please. The trial is difficult enough to participate in, but it's necessary to determine the culprit for our safety. Allow yourself to be selfish and act on self-preservation instead of the well-being of others. Don't concern yourself with protecting me. Don't concern yourself with speaking for Ashley. You'll only end up hurting yourself if we judge the case incorrectly. Just follow the truth and you can protect yourself. I know we're asking a lot since the truth isn't what you want to hear, but please. Protect myself? What did that mean? I thought I had to protect Missy on behalf of trust. She placed her faith in us, after all. And I had to protect Ashley because she's my closest friend, but... myself? I felt stuck. I know Missy didn't kill Cyrus, I know it. And it was impossible for anyone else to have killed him, so... the answer was clear as day. I just didn't want to accept it. But by doing so, I saw I was drawing out this trial for my own self-indulgence and dragging everyone else through hell. I've forgotten the reason we're here, to save ourselves. And I've purposely suppressed the fact that there was something on the crime scene that solidified Ashley's involvement. Okay, am I supposed to... yeah, just her hands. And I saw the damning thing, and I chose to forget it. Yes, the weapon was undebatable. The culprit had a motive. The struggle showed traces of her involvement. The person who fought Cyrus and eventually won is Ashley. It's just Ashley. But how did she get blood on her hands prior to getting her hand on the gun is the question. That is what doesn't make sense to me. Ashley. I'm going to take this lulling conversation and assume you're all done discussing the case, yeah? After all, it was pretty obvious from the start. Well, whatever. This is your space anyway, so without further ado, it's voting time. Damn, really? Shit, okay. This is kinda fucked up. I was thinking like, hey, there's still like some chance it isn't, but... well... I guess it's Ashley. I still have doubts, bro. Guilty, okay. Yes, the culprit responsible for the murder of Cyrus Cyric is none other than the ultimate jockey Ashley Westbridge. And almost all of you voted correctly. Luckily, majority rules, so it's punishment time. And she's just like gonna wake up and get murdered. Oh, wait, what did you mean that almost all of us voted correctly? Ah, well, I guess it's my fault for not mentioning that not voting is a big no-no. But voting should be common sense. You have a responsibility to make your voices heard. Lives are on the line. Or something like that. Missy would know. Don't rope me into this asinine argument. Think of it this way, you're voting for the lesser of two evils. Punish one person for committing a crime or punish everyone for being ignorant. But I could see in Echo's face that they figured it out, so I suppose I'll call it a vote. Aren't I just the nicest, most flexible judge ever? Echo, you didn't vote? How could I? Unbelievable. Everyone's lives are at stake and you still had the audacity to protect the culprit? You're a hopeless case, Echo. I don't understand how you failed to recognize the weight of our actions. The truth was glaringly obvious, yet you continue to turn away. You have no perception of consequences. How dare you refuse to give your all in order to save yourself? Why are you attacking me? This thing that just happened to my best friend, it's awful. Don't you know how I feel too, Lyle? We've already lost 3 friends. Why does this cycle keep turning? Of course I know how you feel, but it's pointless to let things spin out like this. That's why I'm trying my best to solve this killing game. I don't need you turning your cheek away from reality. That will only make things worse. Damn it. I looked over to Ashley, who recovered enough strength to join us in the courtroom at the last moment of our discussion. Ash, I don't get it. To protect me, you threw yourself into danger. And look where it got you. At the foot of an execution. Ash, you're such an idiot. How could you do something so careless? Echo, I thought about nothing but your safety. Huh? All I've ever wanted is the safety and help of my friends. But look what rotten trouble I get everyone into. First Silva and now Echo. Maybe it's better like this. Echo, you don't have to worry about me anymore. Thank goodness, right? If I was in that trial, you would have budged and you might have voted Missy off instead. At least you know you can trust her. What are you saying? I thought that if I could remove a threat from this horrible game, my actions would have been all worth it. But it turns out Cyrus was just asking for this. Cyrus used Silva's bracelet as a show of threat. That the reason he had it and Silva had it. Misreading. Cyrus used Silva's bracelet as a show of threat. That the reason he had it and Silva didn't was because Cyrus said that he had eliminated him. Isn't that right? He said the same to me when I received my additional bracelet. Cyrus, the ultimate confidential informant, knew things we would soon rather forget. And he knew that he used that information to get under our skin. I told you, he's someone to be wary of. So Ashley essentially lost us to the Preservation Project's mole? What if he had information that could have gotten us out? Oh, he had information alright, but he would never tell. Zero's right. When I confronted him to inquire about his facade, he kept dodging my questions. He was acting so odd. And it appears his strange behavior went all according to plan. He was acting suspicious to invite someone to attack him. And I completely fell for it. But I felt terrible because after he collapsed, his aggressive facade faded and he laughed. He was glad. Yes, Cyrus fully intended to take someone down with him. Cyrus fired those initial shots to draw attention. I arrived on the third floor with Echo. I ushered Echo into the art gallery and bound the door with rope from the climbing center. I confronted Cyrus in the smoke lounge and he fired right away. The third shot was a near miss. Cyrus! Not a step closer, Ashley. Unless you'd like to end up like your friend Silva. What do you know about Silva? Oh, I know everything there is to know. Financial records, personal records, etc. After all, I am the ultimate confidential information. The ultimate confidential informant. My job is to seek information about the preservation project's subjects. I personally saw to his removal. And you're next. Not if I have anything to say about it. Yeah, I'd act fast if I were you. You wouldn't want to go down in flames without getting the information you want, would you? How did this racing helmet end up in your room? Why, by yours truly, of course. And his personal vehicle in a 94 Lister Storm? And his personal vehicle is a 94 Lister Storm, the very vehicle that is in the garage right now. Oh shit. Cyrus threatened me with an awful trinket and a time limit. He prepared spilled gasoline and had a blowtorch ready to burn the room down if I didn't act. I fought to keep him at bay. He eventually dropped the gun. I retrieved the gun and gripped the handle fiercely, but Cyrus remained completely cool. He noticed my hesitance and silently tossed a tiny rose gold bracelet in my direction. I snatched it out of thin air, turned it over in my hands to reveal the name engraved onto it, Silva Prower. What'll it be, Ashley? You didn't... Quiet! This isn't right. Why put us through this awful game? For the sake of the future? I'm not an ultimate student. Let's play a game. There's 2 more bullets somewhere in that chamber. If you fire and I live, I'll let you walk away scot-free. If your hands would be clean and you were... your hands will be clean and you were meant to be an ultimate student, born to benefit from the world. If you fire and I die, then... And of course, you know what happens. But in his last moments, he just let out a chuckle and a sigh of relief. He looked so relaxed. He looked as calm as when we first met him. I was confused. Why wasn't he fighting back at all? You're a tough nut to crack, you know? What are you doing? I'm trying to save you. I know I took a chance with that shot, but there has to be another answer. The Preservation Project is a miserable organization that I contributed to. I rallied this group of ultimate students, compiled all the information I could about you all for the project. The project and their game. It's a cruel experiment, all for the sake of the future. Why are you telling me this? So you won't feel guilty about killing me. But how could I not feel guilty? There have been another way to get you out of this mess. Cyrus, I don't understand. Why did it have to come to this? Because I thought I had immunity from the game, but Zero called me out for my cover talent. I knew something was wrong. Why would Zero, an arbiter for the killing game conducted by the Preservation Project, wish to reveal my place in the game? Something was wrong. It was all wrong. This whole game is all wrong. I couldn't wrap my head around a single thing he was saying. I didn't dare wish to know what he was thinking about, but... What's wrong? He coughed out a small chuckle. I made you do a terrible thing. The problem with this game is that you become attached to the ones you're with. As time goes on, bonds are made with the strangers you eventually come to call your friends. I should have never involved myself with you all. I couldn't meet his eyes. I knew it would be too painful. And you might hate me for this, but it's for the best, for you and me, For you and for me, winning the game is nothing but smoke and mirrors. I'm sorry, but thank you for helping me escape this game. He held my hand in his own trembling grasp, weakly pushing my attempts at stopping his suffering away. After I shot him, I knew immediately what the terrible fate I found myself in. I was tethered to meet the same end the moment I fell into his trap. I fled the scene, leaving it a mess because I knew it would be pointless to conceal the truth. But even then, I knew the trial discussion would trace back to my incrimination. That's why I went so far as to shatter the vial of Complex 53 in Silva's bracelet to take myself out of the picture. Ash, why would you do such a thing to yourself? It's awful. I know. Please don't hate me. And forgive me for making such a selfish request, but all I ask is that you live and survive. I did it all for you. Aw, that's sweet. But too bad for you, that sickly sweet sentimentalism isn't going to save you from your execution, silly. Murder is murder. What's that thing you say? Oh, there's no gray area about it. No, wait. There's no stopping this freight train of despair, Echo. If you were among the ones who sealed her fate, you were among the ones who sealed her fate after all. So sit back and enjoy the show. No! And she's dead as hell. Oh, he's trying to they're trying to reach for her and it's not gonna happen. Ashley's hand slipped through mine. She disappeared into the black as I collapsed over myself. All I could do to pull myself up was keep my focus squarely on Ashley as her horrified visage was projected for us to grimace upon. I tried to soak up my final moments with her, even though I knew they were going to be gruesome. Ashley was chained to a metal post. An industrial whirring spun in my skull as a set of arms began to wind up. Clenched at the end of each arm was a horseshoe. Ashley was bound in the direct path across the massive grinding machinery 40 feet away. Ashley's expression was taut. There was only one way out of this game for her, and it was winding up in front of her, just a few paces away. The first pitch was thrown. The light clink as the arm released a horseshoe made my heart drop. It missed with a full thud on the dirt behind Ashley. A second, third, fourth, sixth pitches were thrown with wild abandon, as if purposely missing to prolong my own suffering. The anticipation was miserable. Ashley's gray, sorrowful eyes seemed to meet mine from within the projected screen. I couldn't look any longer. I felt sick. I turned away in agony and heard the distinct sound of a pitch breaking bone. Yikers, dude. Just take a screenshot like that. I could feel the life drain from my body. There was nothing but pain during her last moments, the pain that destroyed her body, and the pain that stung in her heart. Oh, it's so satisfying building up all this hope and cheer to eventually strike it down with a decisive kill. It is a little boring though, new participant killings for defensive reasons. We didn't even give a motive, which was a bit of a curveball, but interesting that a murder occurred nonetheless. Well, I mean, I suppose I did put Cyrus on blast for conniving with the Preservation Project group. He got in the way of the game after all, so I guess it was beneficial for me in the end. The whole trial made my head spin. I felt wretched. I stared at the floor. Not a breath was heard from the others. They seemed just as stunned into silence. In the depths of our despair, Eve's silvery voice crept in. I beseech you all to keep the memory of your friends close. It's awful. I don't want to remember this. Remain strong. As I nursed Ashley back to health, she kept asking aloud, "Is Echo okay? Is Echo okay?" She cared for you until her last breath. Don't think for a second she didn't put everything on the line for you. But why me? I apologize. I cannot say for certain what she was thinking, except Ashley, without a doubt, cared for you deeply. And look where that got her. As difficult as it is, cling to what remains of Ashley, her memory. Really? That's all you have to say this time, Eve? Some empty sentimentalism? You know, Eve claims to be on your side, but look what she's done. Why not just leave Ashley to die of the complex 53 poisoning, Eve? Oh, I know why. Because you love reveling in the despair too. She nursed Ashley back to health so I could kill her. Ashley returned to us only to be cruelly beaten to death. That moment, that shared relief, it was so quickly squashed. And it was so quickly mutilated into twisted dark feelings. How pathetic. You'll never end the game like this. You'll fail once more. Despair will triumph over hope yet again, Eve. And it's all your fault. Zero and Eve warped away and the courtroom was engulfed in silent darkness once again. Echo. Missy's voice was a whisper. She laid a gentle hand on my shoulder. Hey, let's get you out of here. I listlessly followed Missy out of the courtroom. Everyone else filtered out of the courtroom of their own pace as well, dissolving into their own individual lost thoughts for the evening. Without a single word, Missy led me down the living quarter halls to my personal room. Before I entered, Cannon stopped me out of nowhere. Ahem. I realized that this must have been hard for you, Echo, but here, just take this. Cannon handed me a photograph. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was the photos of the students gathered in the atrium, and everyone was in the photo except me and Cannon. I took this photo on the first day. It was after the first Killing Game announcement. After the Killing Game announcement? I recalled a moment in time. I went to my personal room after declining Ashley's invitation to use the spa lounge with Pandora. Art insisted that I work my magic and take a photo of the group since we'd be staying together as friends in the mansion. Despite the awful announcement, he still wanted to take a neat, pleasant picture. I'm a little embarrassed of it. I don't often photograph groups, but I hope this helps ease your pain. Why would you show me this? What do you mean? I don't want to see this. This idyllic scene of our friends who aren't with us anymore. The killings are too vivid in my mind for me to believe a simple photograph. I hate this. I'm sorry, I was just trying to help. Canna tore the photo in half. Happy? Cannon spat her final remark with a half huff before sulking off, her footsteps heavy on the carpet. Missy picked up the pieces of the photograph. That was awfully cold of you, Echo. What do you want me to do? I mumbled. I have nothing to offer the world as an ultimate. I can't do anything. I feel like I lost myself in that trial. I had to detach myself from the people I care about. For what? The truth? I just scoffed. After all, it was Missy's fault a gun was introduced to the group. It was her fault that the gun fell into the wrong hands. Her fault I lost Ashley. Missy sighed softly. It was never my intention to get Ashley executed. I shrugged Missy away. I didn't want to listen to her. I went to my personal room. I sat on the bed. I sat and I cried. Well, that's dark as fuck. Oh, goodness. Art and Ashley, they did terrible things for their friends. When pressed, the two of them only thought to protect the ones important to them. What an interesting concept. It's completely idiotic, though. They discarded their lives for someone else. Selfish and stupid as is what they were. Selflessness gets you nothing in return. In a game like this, you have to be selfish and act in self-preservation. Always look out for number one. Number one. Number one. Number one. 10101. Oh, great. I don't know what the fuck this means. There we go. I screenshotted it just in case. And that's where I'll leave off this stream because holy moly. Oh no. She's dead, guys. Dead as hell. And I don't know how to feel about this. So, yeah, I kind of feel like garbage a little bit. That was horrible. I was like holding out hope. I was coping so hard. Not without, giving my spare bit of logic, mind you, but I really didn't think it was just gonna be Ashley killing Cyrus. So Cyrus did think he was gonna have immunity, like I thought earlier, but then that immunity was thrown out the window when, Zero came around. Zero, ones and zeros. That has me thinking about those ones and zeros. I'll have to check that 1 and 0 thing myself. I have no idea whether it means anything. I suppose I'll tell you guys the next time. So I bid thee farewell, my kindred. I hope you'll have a great rest of your mornings, afternoons, evenings, and nights, wherever and whenever you are. May the gods bless you, and may the stars shine in your honor. Hopefully the next episode of this game, the next stream of it, will be a little bit kinder on our souls, and I'm hungry. I want to go eat. Bye-bye!